Chapter 2750. The Shrewd Buddha's Hand Flower 2. What herbs need to be grabbed? Lung Ruoxue took the opportunity to ask curiously. Hehe. It was mimosa and Buddha's hand flower. The two little things had thousands of years of cultivation. Although they couldn't transform into human form, they had developed intelligence, so they were very cunning. We've been trying to catch them for a long time, but we haven't been able to catch them. Huoyu explained helplessly. When Lung Ruoxue heard these two names, her eyes lit up. One must know that these two heavenly treasures were born together. Wherever mimosa was, there would be Buddha's hand flower. The two were inseparable. Moreover, just from the name, mimosa was a very timid herb, but it was this very timid little thing that carried a great poison. The Buddha's hand flower was the herb that could detoxify mimosa's great poison, but only after being poisoned by mimosa could one consume the Buddha's hand flower. If one consumed the Buddha's hand flower alone, the detoxify mimosa would also turn into a great poison. This was the wonder of nature. Lung Ruoxue had also heard of the names of these two precious herbs from the notes her master had left behind, but she had never seen them before. Now that she had such a good opportunity, and it was even 1,000-year-old mimosa and Buddha's hand flower, she naturally did not want to let it go. After thinking for a while, she said to Huoyu directly, "Your Excellency, fire you. Can I go with you to catch them?" "Of course you can. I was going to hand them over to you when I caught them, but those two herbs are very cunning. Ever since we found their whereabouts, they have been playing hide and seek with us. Their growing environment is quite harsh. I wonder if Miss Lung can stand it?" Huoyu reminded him worriedly. "Don't worry, I can take the pain," Lung Ruoxue promised. "All right, get ready. We'll leave the day after tomorrow." After thinking for a while, Fire Guangdong said, "Sure." Lung Ruoxue nodded, then said with some hesitation, "Your Excellency, fire you. Can I plead on Feng Ye's behalf? He and I have some relationship. I hope that Your Excellency Firelit can let him out on my account." Upon hearing this, Fire Jade nodded. Now that it needed Lung Ruoxue's help, it would naturally grant her any request. Even though Lung Ruoxue did not have absolute confidence that she could successfully concoct the reincarnation pill, hope was always a good thing. Moreover, releasing Feng Yi was not a big deal, so of course it would not reject her. Furthermore, it was also clear what Lung Ruoxue meant by history. It could not afford to offend that little kitten. Not long after, Feng Yi was brought to the meeting hall. The moment he saw Lung Ruoxue, Feng Yi immediately hugged her leg and wailed, "Wu, Shuer, you're the best. You're the most loyal. When those bad guys saw that I was locked up, they all hit me when I was down. Humph. All of them were a bunch of disloyal bastards. I hate them. I've decided to follow you from now on. If you want me to go east, I won't go west. If you want me to devote my body to you, I won't hesitate anymore. I won't think that you're not my type anymore. From now on, you're the goddess in my heart." When Lung Ruoxue heard Feng Ye's words, she really wanted to kick him out of the meeting hall. This fellow, it was fine if he embarrassed himself, but now he even dragged her down with him. This was really unbearable. However, in the Qilin clan, Lung Ruoxue still felt that she should give Fire Yu some face. Hence, she endured Feng Ye's abnormal behavior and looked at Fire Yu apologetically, who knew that Huoyu was also looking at her apologetically. Instantly, the two of them felt a little awkward. After calming herself down, Lung Ruoxue stood up calmly. After greeting Huoyu, she removed her leg from Feng Ye's arm and turned to leave the meeting hall. Thanks. Watching Lung Ruoxue's back view, Fire Yu sighed repeatedly. At this moment, it really felt that it was a good thing that Feng Yi had lost to a cat. Otherwise, the Qilin clan's face would have been completely lost by him. When Feng Yi, who was left behind, saw that Lung Ruoxue had left, he hurriedly chased after her. From afar, Feng Yi shouted, "Wait for me, Shuer." He floated back to the meeting hall. All the Qilins present covered their faces and really wanted to pretend that they didn't know Feng Yi. When it was time to set off to catch Mimosa and the Buddha's hand flower, Fire Yu naturally sent someone to invite Lung Ruoxue, the 3 humans and the 5 beasts. However, not long after, it saw Feng Yi, who was standing beside Lung Ruoxue with a bashful look on his face, in the other party's team. The corner of his mouth twitched, and Huoyu couldn't help but think, Is this guy going to follow me? This was not good news. But it soon confirmed that Feng Yi was going. When Leng Ruoxue told Fire Yu about the bad news, she immediately saw Fire Yu's constipated expression. In an instant, Leng Ruoxue's mood brightened. It seemed that it wasn't enough for him to be unlucky. It was great to see others be unlucky. However, the two of them seemed to be brothers in the same boat. Hence, Leng Ruoxue only patted Huoyu's big head to comfort him. Everything was clear without words. Huoyu understood Leng Ruoxue's meaning, and returned a look of take care. The Qilin and Leng Ruoxue's team of 3 people and 5 beasts officially set off. According to the information provided by Fire Yu, Mimosa and Buddha's handflower were supposed to live in the cold mountains, but ever since the 2 little guys started playing hide-and-seek with the Qilin clan, the 2 treasures had disappeared, which made it more difficult for them to find them. However, Huoyu was very confident that the 2 cunning little things would not run too far away. After all, they could not transform into human form yet. Based on this deduction, Leng Ruoxue and the others were prepared to conduct a thorough search of the mountain, where they had originally discovered the 2 great treasures. The mountain where Mimosa and the Buddha's handflower grew was not far from the Qilin clan's territory. Under the Qilin clan's lead, Leng Ruoxue and the others arrived at the foot of the mountain where they had found the 2 precious herbs after 2 hours. Looking at the small mountain that was only as tall as a person, Leng Ruoxue's face darkened. This mountain was unusually small. Moreover, there was only one mountain, and it was surrounded by weeds. It was hard to imagine that such a mountain could produce heavenly treasures. Filled with doubts, Leng Ruoxue looked at Huoyu and asked, "Your Excellency Fire Guangdong, are you sure we want to carry out a thorough search in this mountain? Was there a need to search?" With a sweep of his divine sense, he would know if there were any unfamiliar auras. Well, according to my nearly 1,000 years of experience in fighting with those 2 little things, they won't go too far away from their home. So, as long as we hide and wait here, we'll definitely be able to catch them," Huoyu said confidently. It turned out that he was waiting for an opportunity. This time, Leng Ruoxue finally understood. After that, she didn't say anything and started to search the mountain with Fire Yu and the other Qilin. After entering the mountain, Leng Ruoxue was surprised to find that the mountain looked small from the outside, but in reality, the inside of the mountain was very wide and cold. The mountain stream was so wide that one couldn't see the end. Wild grass grew very densely, and of course, there were some medicinal herbs mixed among the wild grass. However, it was a huge task to pick out the medicinal herbs from the many wild grass. Chapter 2751. The Shrewd Buddha's Handflower 3. Leng Ruoxue had delegated this huge project to Feng Yi. When Feng Yi heard Leng Ruoxue's order, he instinctively wanted to reject her. However, he remembered what he had said not long ago, and felt that he should not slap himself in the face. So he could only resign himself to his fate, and go pull out the weeds. Seeing that Feng Yi was working hard with his but sticking out, Fire Yu gave Leng Ruoxue a look of admiration and said in a low voice, "Miss Leng, you're so good at controlling your husband. Don't you know how to talk, dear?" This wasn't a word that could be used casually. Leng Ruoxue broke out in a cold sweat. Luckily, the demon was not here. Otherwise, she would have exploded in anger if she heard this. Leng Ruoxue carefully observed her surroundings. When she realized that no one was paying attention to her and Huoyu, she replied softly, "Your Excellency Fire Yu, you've got it wrong. He's not my husband, so you can't say that I'm good at controlling my husband." "Oh, then what should I say?" Huoyu asked in high spirits, not feeling ashamed to ask. Leng Ruoxue's face darkened again. Then she put on a straight face and said in a serious tone, "You don't have to say anything. He's my servant now. Whatever I order him to do, he has to do it obediently. Yes, you're a good queen." Huoyu's eyes were full of stars as he said with a face full of admiration. Hearing this, Leng Ruoxue fell silent. She wanted to cry but had no tears. Was this the Fire Yu she knew? Are you sure it hasn't been replaced? After sizing up the Fire Yu from head to toe, Leng Ruoxue had no choice but to admit pessimistically that the fiery red Qilin with starry eyes was undoubtedly the Fire Yu. However, she had no idea why the acting clan leader of the Qilin clan, who was still considered normal before, had suddenly become like this. However, this kind of fire you was rather terrifying, wasn't it? After taking a few deep breaths, Lung Ruoxua was at a loss for words. But at least she was at peace now. Then she found a place to sit down. After an unknown period of time, the Qilins that had been sent out by Fire Yu to carry out a carpet search returned to the gathering point with nothing. Afraid that the Qilins would be sad, Yu consoled them first. Then, they temporarily lived in the house that Master Ning had contributed, monitoring every grass and tree in the mountain at all times. Just like that, half a month passed by quickly. The cunning mimosa and Buddha's hand flower that Yu mentioned still didn't appear. For a moment, the Qilins were somewhat anxious. Seeing that they could not keep their cool, Lung Ruoxua could only tell them that the reincarnation grass had already grown into a 10,000-year-old reincarnation grass to comfort them. As expected, after hearing the good news, the Qilins' morale was boosted. They decided to find Mimosa and Buddha's hand flower as soon as possible. On a certain day, Green Vessel, who had been monitoring the situation in the mountains, suddenly spoke to Lung Ruoxua. "Sister, I think I've found those two little fellows." "Really? Where are they?" Lung Ruoxua asked in surprise. "If I'm not wrong, they should be hiding in the mountain wall." Qingju replied. "Inside the mountain wall? Can treasures of heaven and earth be found there?" Lung Ruoxua was very surprised. However, if Qingju's senses were correct, those two little fellows were really good at hiding. "I don't think so, but all treasures have their own abilities. Those two little guys might be able to hide there," Qingju said after thinking. As he did not have these two treasures, Green Vessel only knew some of their well-known characteristics. He did not know anything about the two little fellows. As such, he did not dare to be too confident. However, it was enough for Lung Ruoxua to understand what he meant. After that, Lung Ruoxua called for the Fire Yu. She brought the Qilin, Uncle Long, Godfather and the 5 little beasts, and they headed towards the weakest part of the mountain. When they arrived at the mountain wall, Yu looked at Lung Ruoxua with uncertainty. "Miss Lung, is it really possible that the two heavenly treasures are living here?" "I don't know. We need to go in and look for it," Lung Ruoxua said irresponsibly. She did not want to expose Qingju, so she could only play dumb. When Fire Yu heard this, it was indeed very depressed. However, it had no other choice. It could only order the Qilin to smash a cave that was half the height of a human on the mountain wall. Then the Qilin all transformed into their human forms and walked in together. Thanks. When they walked into the cave, they were surprised to find that the mountain wall was indeed empty. The spiritual qi inside was actually very rich. This time, Yu's confidence increased greatly. The Qilin's search also became more vigorous. They searched little by little. After an unknown period of time, Lung Ruoxua and the others still did not find anything. Instantly, the Qilin's spirits were once again dampened. At this moment, Lung Ruoxua's sharp eyes noticed 2 rays of green light sneakily passing by their feet. Without a second thought, she immediately chased after the 2 rays of green light. When Fire Yu saw this, it did not hesitate to cooperate with Lung Ruoxua to surround and block them. At this time, everyone present reacted. For a moment, the scene was extremely chaotic, but the 2 green lights were also being chased in all directions. "Ha! As expected, he's here. Let's see where you can run to now." Yu was a little excited. He had recognized the 2 green lights to be the mimosa and the Buddha's hand flower that they had been looking for. Then the Fire Yu threw out a translucent net. The net directly ran towards the 2 green lights and quickly fell, enveloping the 2 green lights. Just as the net was about to be pulled back by the Fire Yu, a green light escaped. The Fire Yu saw this and quickly pulled back its net. At this time, there was only a lonely pink flower in the net. The pink flower was only the size of a palm. It had emerald green leaves that were shaped like a human palm. The veins on it were clear and crystal clear. It was quite beautiful and exquisite. It was the Buddha's hand flower. However, this little flower obviously had a bad temper. After being caught, it kept struggling and even scolded Yu for being shameless. However, after waiting for so long, he finally had some gains. Therefore, Yu was in a good mood, and allowed the little flower to curse in his hands. Lung Ruoxue took the angry Buddha's hand flower from Huayu's hand and gently stroked its petals. The flower quieted down instantly and stopped making noise. It just stayed quietly in Lung Ruoxue's hand. Upon seeing this, Huayu was quite surprised. He reached out to poke the petals of the Buddha's hand flower out of boredom and sighed. Are you bullying the weak and fearing the strong? Although Huayu had never thought that he was a pushover, the truth was right in front of his eyes. He had no choice but to believe it. AI. This was really bullying. Get lost. Don't touch me, you big pervert. The Buddha's hand flower felt that it had been taken advantage of. After being poked a few times by the fire, it roared in anger. Then, it rubbed against Lung Ruoxue's jade-like hand as if it had suffered a great grievance. Hearing this, Lung Ruoxue's forehead was covered in cold sweat. This little flower's mind was really complicated. Huayu, who was scolded as a pervert, immediately pulled a long face. You're just a flower, okay? You can't even transform. And you dare to call me a pervert? Huayu felt that he was really wronged. This broken flower was really too unreasonable. If it wasn't for the fact that it was still useful, Huayu couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't destroy it. You bastard. It was really too detestable. However, the Buddha's hand flower was obviously very bold, or perhaps it felt that Lung Ruoxue was backing it up. Hence it replied fearlessly, Humph. So what if I can't transform? Just because I can't transform, I can be jabbed around by you? I'm telling you, I'm a Buddha's hand flower with principles. You guys stay away from me. I'm not interested in you guys. I'm not interested in you either. Upon hearing this, Huayu was so angry that he almost exploded. Hearing Huayu and the Buddha's hand flower bickering, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but want to cover her face. This quarrel was really too meaningless. At this moment a weak voice sounded. I beg you, let the little Buddha go. Xiaoshan, don't beg them. Leave this place quickly. As long as they can't catch you, they won't kill me. Upon hearing this, the Buddha's hand flower, which was in high spirits and quarreling with Huayu like a cockfight, immediately changed its target and said to a light green delicate grass, No, I'm not leaving. I can't watch you get caught by them. I have to save you. The light green grass said stubbornly, Why are you so disobedient? When the Buddha's hand flower heard this, it immediately became anxious. Then it had a flash of inspiration and the flower turned to Lung Ruoxue and said, Human, I know you're with them, but you have a presence that I like. So, if you're willing to help us, Xiaoshan and I are willing to follow you. But you can't hand us over to these Chilants. Lung Ruoxue could not help but laugh when she heard the Buddha's hand flower's conditions. This Buddha's hand flower was really smart. It didn't look like a treasure at all. More importantly, this little flower was very bold. It had already been captured, but it still dared to negotiate and even seemed to be instigating. What do you think, human? Seeing that Lung Ruoxue only smiled slightly and did not speak, Buddha's hand flower could not help but ask. Not much. Don't you know your current situation? Do you think you have the right to negotiate with me? Lung Ruoxue teased him on purpose. That's right, little broken flower, you're too overconfident. Huayu sneered. Get lost, stinky Qilin. It's none of your business. You can go play in the mud. I'm not even talking to you. Huayu's interruption made the Buddha's hand flower rather unhappy. Hence, it didn't reply to Lung Ruoxue's words, and instead took the lead to attack the fire verbally. Chapter 2752. The Secret of the Qilin Clan, 1. After attacking Huayu, the Buddha's hand flower immediately shook its pink petals and rubbed against Lung Ruoxue in an attempt to please her. It said gently, Human, although I've been captured, am not afraid. At worst, I'll just die. What's the big deal? However, I want you to know that I'm more useful alive. At least, I'm much more useful than these stinky Qilin. So, you won't regret choosing to protect us. While the Buddha's hand flower was talking, Mimosa had been floating nearby, looking at them worriedly. Lung Ruoxue, on the other hand, didn't give any response after listening to the flower's rambunctious words. Seeing that, the Buddha's hand flower was a little anxious, but it was always calm, so it didn't show it. Instead, it was Mimosa who couldn't hold it in anymore and said loudly, Human, don't kill the little Buddha. Wu am willing to exchange myself for his freedom. Please let it go. With that, Mimosa wanted to run towards Lung Ruoxue, but the Buddha's hand flower was so angry that it stopped him. Xiaoshu, stay where you are and don't move. Otherwise, I'll never talk to you again. The Buddha's hand flower was very anxious. Silly little shyness, if you fall into the hands of these bad guys, they really won't have any way to live. However, Mimosa didn't understand the anxiety in Buddha's hand flower's heart at all, but it was very obedient. So when Buddha's hand flower told it to stand still, it really did. Lung Ruoxue was rather surprised to see this. It seemed like between the two little fellows, Mimosa was following the Buddha's hand flower's lead. At this moment, the Buddha's hand flower said to Lung Ruoxue, "Human, what do you think? If you don't agree, well, just fight to the death. In any case, I won't let myself fall into the hands of these Qilin." The Buddha's hand flower was obviously a little stubborn when it said this. At the same time, it made Lung Ruoxue not know whether to laugh or cry. Why did this little guy have his eyes on her? Could it be that this was the so-called picking the big one from the pile? Compared to the Qilin, and more pleasing to the eye? Lung Ruoxue didn't know if she should feel honored or not. She saw Huoyu winking at her, as if he wanted her to agree. If that was the case, the two little fellows would be in her hands. However, Lung Ruoxue didn't think that with the Buddha's hand flower, these two little fellows would be at their mercy. Hence, she didn't follow Huoyu's instructions. Instead, she remained calm and said, "I really want to know what these Qilin did to you. Why do you hate them so much?" Lung Ruoxue could not figure it out no matter how much she thought about it. This was also something that the Fire Yu and the other Qilins wanted to know. So when Lung Ruoxue asked this question, they all perked up their ears and listened carefully. Humph. Those bad Qilins captured us to kill us. How could we not hate them? They've also captured us for nearly 1,000 years, causing Xiaoshan and I to hide here and there, unable to return home. How can we not hate them? The Buddha's hand flower said hatefully. The petals it had obtained had turned red to show its anger. After Lung Ruoxue heard this, she looked at Huoyu with sympathy. Just because of this? Wasn't it normal for heavenly treasures to be pursued after they were discovered? But obviously, the Buddha's hand flower didn't think so. It had even regarded the Qilin clan as its mortal enemy. They would rather rely on her than let the Kirin get them. Smiling helplessly, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but remind him. "Don't you know that I'm on the same side as these Qilins? You're still willing to follow me? I'm an alchemist, so I'm naturally looking for you to concoct alchemical pills. In your hearts, this should also be considered killing you, right? Do you still dare to join me?" "Thanks, Buddha's hand flower was speechless. After a long time it spoke again. "Although you're an alchemist, as long as you give us a chance to live, we won't die. But these Qilins are different. They're too rough and don't know how to be gentle with women, so if we fall into their hands, only death awaits us. I have too many friends who have been captured by them. I can't end up like my little friends." When the Buddha's hand flower said this, it was so excited that its petals trembled even more violently. After Lung Ruoxue heard this, she glanced at Huoyu indifferently and used her gaze to ask him about the Buddha's hand flower. "All the treasures we've caught are still alive and well. We didn't kill them at all." Huoyu had no choice but to say, "Isn't that just a matter of time?" The Buddha's hand flower's impression of Huoyu was extremely bad. No matter what he said, he didn't intend to believe him. This fact made Huoyu very helpless. He looked at Lung Ruoxue for help. Lung Ruoxue laughed to herself, but she still replied kindly, "His Excellency Fire Yu is right. Those heavenly treasures are still alive. Moreover, I will need them in the future. So little guy, you've wronged the Qilin clan. Although they caught you, I might be the one who killed you." The reason why she said this was that she hoped that the Buddha's hand flower could recognize the reality in front of it and not recognize the thief as its master. Of course, she was not a thief, but according to the logic of the Buddha's hand flower, she was probably close. Unexpectedly, after Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the Buddha's hand flower started laughing. Then the Buddha's hand flower said, "Human, I've said it before. You have a smell that I like. I believe that you will treat the natural treasures well. Therefore, if it ends up in someone else's hands, I'd rather it be you." Lung Ruoxue didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she heard this. She didn't know that the Buddha's hand flower would think this way, but she couldn't deny that it was really smart and knew that she was no threat to it. Sigh. She couldn't help but be soft-hearted when facing this smart little guy. Since you've already decided, then follow me from now on. Although I need you to concoct pills for me, I won't kill you. Lung Ruoxua promised seriously. Yes, human, I believe you. The Buddha's hand flower was naturally ecstatic when it saw that its goal had been achieved. At this moment, the light green grass slowly floated over and hovered around Lung Ruoxua. It believed in the little Buddha's judgment, and the little Buddha's choice was naturally its choice. Upon seeing this, Wuyu and the other Qilins couldn't help but widen their eyes in disbelief. He was subdued just like that? Mimosa and Buddha's hand flower, who had been fighting with them for almost 1,000 years, had obviously thrown themselves into Lung Ruoxua's arms. Could this be the aura of a king? The Qilins sized up Lung Ruoxua from head to toe. They looked at her until her hair stood on end. She turned her head and glared at them before the Qilin reluctantly retracted their gazes, as if they were looking at a monster. AI. Comparing humans to beasts would drive beasts to their deaths. The Qilins were a little shocked, but no matter what, this trip was not in vain. With these two medicinal herbs, there was hope for the refinement of the reincarnation pill. As soon as they thought of this, they instantly became extremely excited. Chapter 2753. The Secret of the Qilin Clan 2. Young Miss Lung, let's quickly return to the Qilin clan. Huoyu, who couldn't wait any longer, immediately suggested. All right, he said. Lung Ruoxua nodded. Then, with the Buddha's hand flower in one hand and mimosa in the other, she followed behind the Qilin and returned to the Qilin clan. Along the way, Lung Ruoxua was chatting nonstop with the flower and the grass. She knew that the mountain wall they were on had a natural barrier that allowed them to hide from the Qilin clan for close to 1,000 years. Lung Ruoxua was rather surprised by the barrier. If it wasn't for the fact that the Qilin clan was in a hurry to return, she would have returned to the mountain wall to observe it. The wonders of nature were truly amazing. After returning to the Qilin clan, Wuyu immediately sent someone to deliver all the medicinal herbs to Lung Ruoxua and strictly ordered no one to disturb her. His purpose was to let Lung Ruoxua focus on refining the reincarnation pill. Lung Ruoxua naturally understood the Qilin clan's thoughts. However, she suggested that she hoped the Qilin clan could send someone to Demon City to bring Xin Nuo, Jiangning, and Luyue over. With the three vice presidents of the Alchemist Guild headquarters discussing the reincarnation pill together, she believed that they would be able to refine it very quickly. The Fire You naturally did not object when it heard this. It had also heard of the three alchemists. Immediately, it sent its subordinates to the Demon City. During this period of time, Lung Ruoxua had been staying in the Bengal, trying to bond with the two newly arrived heaven and earth treasures. When the Buddha's hand flower saw its new home, it was even more satisfied with Lung Ruoxua. It even said smugly, "Hee. Human, I knew I had good taste. This place is perfect for me and Shilai. From now on, we don't have to hide here and they're like stray dogs anymore." After that, the Buddha's hand flower started to wail loudly, and Mimosa cried as well. Two young and tender voices immediately resounded through the space, attracting the attention of many natural treasures. Many of the little fellows who could transform gathered in front of Lung Ruoxua and called her big sister excitedly. Then, they turned their curious gazes to the two new companions. "Big sister, why are they crying?" A chubby white baby that Lung Ruoxua had never seen before blinked his big, confused eyes and asked in confusion. "They're crying tears of joy." "That you are?" After Lung Ruoxua finished explaining, she could not help but ask. "Sister, I'm the reincarnation grass. You were the one who planted me here, so how could you forget me?" The little child said sadly, his dark and bright eyes slowly filled with tears. Lung Ruoxua looked at the other party's stance and felt her head throb. Why was it another little thing that loved to cry? "Little Samsara, how could I forget you? I'm just a little surprised because I've never seen you in human form." Lung Ruoxua coaxed. "Is that really the case?" The moment the reincarnation grass heard this, its tears stopped flowing. Instead, its eyes continued to well up as it looked at Lung Ruoxua with uncertainty. Of course it's like this. Lung Ruoxue nodded and promised. Don't worry, I won't lie. At this moment, another child at the side testified. With his little friend as a witness, the reincarnation grass immediately believed Lung Ruoxue's words and broke into a smile. At the same time, a confused voice choked with sobs sounded. Why are you guys calling this human big sister? Thanks, the one who spoke was the Buddha's hand flower that had been wailing earlier. Now it was no longer crying. Instead, its petals trembled with a curious look. Obviously, it was a little confused. Hehe. She's our big sister. A little child picked up the Buddha's hand flower and touched its soft petals. Oh, then does that mean Xiaoshu and I will have to call her big sister in the future? Buddha's hand Huasha nodded and asked. It's up to you. You can call it whatever you want. Lung Ruoxue said to the Buddha's hand flower with a smile. No, I have to do as the Romans do. This will be my home in the future. I can't be special. The Buddha's hand flower disagreed. Hearing the Buddha's hand flower's theory, Lung Ruoxue was truly impressed. How did this little flower know how to do as the Romans do when in Rome? It was too amazing. What she didn't know was that the Buddha's hand flower and Mimosa had seen too many humans and beasts during their battle with the Qilin clan. Hence, they had learned a lot of languages. The thing about languages had always been broad and profound. The Buddha's hand flower was smart enough to draw inferences from one instance. Hence, it created the Buddha's hand flower that Lung Ruoxue was looking at. However, ever since the Buddha's hand flower discovered the special feature of the mountain wall, it and Mimosa had been on the run for less and less time, so the knowledge it came into contact with was limited. However, just this alone was enough for Lung Ruoxue to feel that this little flower had its own opinions, and was different from the rest. On the contrary, Mimosa always looked shy, which made people want to dote on him more. The two little fellows each had their own merits. Lung Ruoxue's team of heaven and earth treasures had 2 new members. As for the other medicinal herbs that Huoyu had given her, although there was no lack of treasures of heaven and earth among them, very few of them had spiritual consciousness. Even if they had spiritual consciousness, it was very weak. Thus, Lung Ruoxue could not communicate with them at all. She had handed them over to Qingju to handle. A few days later, Shen Nua and the rest had arrived. However, it was not only the 3 of them who came. The first elder, Mo Yen Lufeng, and the cheapskate old ancestor had all come. Of course, Lung Ruoxue absolutely believed that the 4 of them were just here to join in the fun out of boredom. The entire Qilin clan welcomed them warmly, and they could not help but feel overwhelmed by the unexpected favor. They really wanted to know what Shui had done to deserve such treatment from the Qilin clan. Don't tell me that the Qilin race has admired them for a long time? That was just a lie to a child. Even if Shen Nua and the other 2 were alchemists, they would not think that the Qilin clan would treat them so well. After all, the pride and reclusiveness of the Qilin clan were well known in the immortal realm. The few of them who could not figure it out pulled Lung Ruoxue aside and asked her for a long time before they finally found out the reason. When they heard that Lung Ruoxue was preparing to refine the reincarnation pill, Shen Nua, Jiangning, and Luya's eyes widened in disbelief. They were so excited that they were speechless. Seeing their reaction, Lung Ruoxue knew that the 3 of them must have heard of the reincarnation pill. When Luya saw Lung Ruoxue's expression as if she was waiting for them to explain, she laughed in embarrassment before saying, "The reincarnation pill is a legendary pill. However, this kind of legend is obviously different from the other legends because this pill is a real pill that cannot be successfully refined. First of all, the number of herbs required is quite shocking. It's not possible to collect all of them in a short time. To put it in a way that would strike a blow to their morale, top forces like the 8 divine regions would probably never be able to gather enough medicinal herbs to refine the reincarnation pill in their entire lives. Secondly, the reincarnation pill also had a requirement for the heat control, and this heat control was basically reflected in the flame. An ordinary alchemist's flame would not be able to melt all the medicinal herbs within the specified time. In this way, it would definitely affect the medicinal properties of the medicinal herbs. Even for the reincarnation pill, this is an insurmountable gap. As such, the reincarnation pill can only become a legend. Luya sighed and finally gave a simple explanation. Chapter 2754. The Secret of the Qilin Clan 3. Schwer, we've only heard of this reincarnation pill in the historical records of the Alchemist Guild headquarters. According to the legends, the reincarnation pill was created by Master Yu, and only Master Yu has ever successfully refined it. However, the only reincarnation pill in the legends should have fallen into the hands of Wu Yan. Xin Nua recalled for a moment, and continued Lu Yu's sentence. Schwer, you said you want to refine the reincarnation pill, but where can I find the herbs? What you have in your hands is not enough. Jiang Ning said with an excited expression. The Qilin clan will provide the medicinal herbs. They have been collecting for tens of thousands of years, just for one reincarnation pill. However, I'm not sure if I can successfully refine it, so I asked Huoyu to bring you here to study it together. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Ha! I knew Schwer was the best. She didn't forget to think of us even when there's such a good opportunity. However, we really don't have much confidence in the reincarnation pill. At most we'll be your assistants. At this moment, Jiang Ning was being modest. With 3 Alchemist Guild's vice guild leaders assisting me, my treatment is really good enough. Thank you all. Lung Ruoxue teased him and thanked him sincerely. However, Jiang Ning and the others didn't need her to be so polite. Following that, Lung Ruoxue unintentionally caught a glimpse of First Elder's pensive look. She could not help but ask out of curiosity. What's wrong, Grand Elder? Is there something on your mind? No, I'm just thinking if the Qilin race is asking for the reincarnation pill for their chief. The Great Elder suddenly burst out with shocking words. You're saying, hearing this, Master Ning and Uncle Long immediately reacted and looked at the First Elder without blinking. The two of them had lived for a long time, so they naturally understood what the Great Elder meant. But was this possible? But thinking about it carefully, the fact that the Qilin race was willing to spend tens of thousands of years to collect these herbs, the importance of this reincarnation pill was naturally self-evident. At the thought of this, Master Ning said to Lung Ruoxue with a serious expression, Schwer, it's a good thing the Grand Elder reminded me. The reason why the Qilin race needs the reincarnation pill is probably for the Patriarch. Tens of thousands of years ago, not long after Master Yu fell, there was a rumor that the Qilin clan leader was severely injured and would not live long. However, at that time none of us believed it, because the Qilin clan leader was the most powerful beastie in the immortal realm. It was possible to say that he was injured, but to say that he would die was obviously false news that someone had intentionally released to confuse us. That's why most people don't believe it. Afterwards, the Qilin clan's patriarch personally appeared and proved that the rumors were false. However, the Qilin clan's patriarch used seclusion as an excuse and never appeared in the divine realm again. Of course, to cultivators, it was normal to go into seclusion for tens of thousands of years. However, for tens of thousands of years, the Qilin clan had been collecting the medicinal herbs to refine the reincarnation pill. This was somewhat abnormal. After all, the reincarnation pill was not an ordinary healing pill. If it wasn't for the fact that an important figure of the Qilin clan was injured, how could the Qilin clan be in such a state? Everyone nodded at Master Ning's words. Then Uncle Long said, Schwer, the patriarch of the Qilin clan is also my senior. Furthermore, that senior's reputation in the divine realm is rather high. It can be said that he's a great figure, like a god in the eyes of all the magical beasts in the divine realm. If it's really as we've guessed, that he's heavily injured and needs to consume the reincarnation pill, then I hope that you'll do your best. This is not just to build a good relationship with the Qilin clan, but also for the development of the magical beasts in the divine realm. The current beast race really needs such an important figure to lead them. I understand. Lung Ruoxue nodded her head seriously. After that, she brought Xin Nua, Lu Yue, and Jiang Ning into seclusion to research the reincarnation pill. The process of waiting was naturally extremely long. Ever since Lung Ruoxue went into closed-door cultivation, the entire Qilin clan, from the Fire Yu to the ordinary Qilin, had their eyes on the room that Lung Ruoxue had used as her temporary pill room. Seeing how nervous they were, Uncle Long couldn't help but comfort them. Your Excellency Fire Yu, I suggest you calm down. Pill refining is different from other things, especially refining this kind of legendary pill. It can't be completed in a short time. So if you guys continue to be so nervous, I'm afraid that you'll collapse before Shui Air's reincarnation pill is refined. I understand, but I can't help but be nervous. We've been collecting herbs for tens of thousands of years just for this moment. Huoyu said with a worried expression. Upon seeing this, Uncle Long carefully asked, "Is it for the Qilin clan leader? How did you know?" The Fire Yu was shocked. It didn't say anything. How did the other party guess it? Seeing Huoyu's frightened face, Uncle Long was speechless. He thought, "It's written all over your face. How can I not know?" How low was his IQ then? Other than the Qilin clan leader, I can't think of any other reason that would make the entire Qilin clan go all out. AI. The Qilin clan leader is a true hero in my heart. Other than Master Yu, he is the one I admire the most. Uncle Long said, playing the emotional card. Thanks. Upon hearing this, Huoyu's shock turned into excitement. He excitedly pulled Uncle Long's arm and said, "Brother, thank you for your appreciation of our clan leader. Just as you said, the chief is also the hero of our Qilin clan, the god in our hearts. And since you've already guessed it, I won't hide it from you. The reason we want to refine the reincarnation pill is indeed to save the patriarch. For the sake of the Qilin clan, the clan leader has done his best. Therefore, we will also die for him. As long as you can cure the clan head, our Qilin clan is willing to pay any price. Right now, our only hope is for the clan head to wake up safely. This is also the wish of all the clansmen of our Qilin clan. Now it's all up to Lung Ruoxia to help us realize it." After a pause, Huoyu continued, "Don't worry, Shuer will do her best. We must have faith in her." Uncle Long encouraged. "Yes." Huoyu nodded. It was confident in Lung Ruoxia's alchemy skills, but it could not help but be worried. However, with Uncle Long's comfort, it felt much more at ease. By the way, how did the Qilin clan leader get injured? Uncle Long continued to ask. It's all because of that bitch Rhyme," Huoyu said through gritted teeth. His eyes were still burning with raging flames, which were almost tangible. The Qilin clan chief who was injured by Wu Yan? Uncle Long was shocked. Could Wu Qin defeat the Qilin clan leader at that time? Yes, that bitch is very despicable. She set a trap to capture the little prince of our Qilin clan, and even used the little prince to threaten him. However, the clan leader was not threatened for the sake of the Qilin clan. However, he was still worried about the little prince and was distracted. I really hate it. At that time, my strength was too low and I couldn't help the patriarch at all. If it were now, we definitely wouldn't let Wu Yan's plot succeed. Huoyu roared indignantly, and it was so angry that all the fur on its body stood up. This matter was the greatest humiliation to the Qilin clan. From then on, the Qilin clan began to cultivate, no longer willing to care about the affairs of the world. Other than occasionally showing their faces in the divine realm, most of the time, they were even more low-key than before. As a result of enduring hardships and trying to bite the bullet, the strength of the Qilin clan was now much stronger than before. This was also the main reason why Lung Ruoxia and the rest could see so many hierarch Qilin. It could be said that the hatred between the country and the family caused the entire Qilin race to be united like never before. All the Qilin were working hard to cultivate, and this result was naturally gratifying. Of course, there would occasionally be one or two idiots in the Qilin race, but it did not affect the overall situation. Don't worry, you'll definitely have the chance to take revenge. Uncle Long patted his shoulder and said, "Yes." Huoyu nodded heavily. At the moment, healing the clan leader's injuries was the most important thing for them. As long as the clan leader woke up, they would be able to deal with the fog. Uncle Long was well aware of the Fire Yu's thoughts. Hence, he did not take the opportunity to ask for an alliance with the Fire Yu. He believed that the Qilin clan would take the initiative to ask for an alliance once Shuer had successfully refined the reincarnation pill. The Qilin clan had yet to reveal their intentions, so they must have been testing them. As such, he couldn't say anything. Not only couldn't they say it, but they also had to find a way to show their strength. Thus, using fog as an excuse was the best choice. After that, the two top beasts, who had a common language, began to talk about Rhyme without restraint. Of course, Uncle Long was the one who started it. Uncle Long started from the many times that they had fought with the rime ice. He believed that Fire You must have heard about these things. However, Fire You certainly did not know as much as he did, as he had been there in person. Therefore he explained it in great detail. He even described every step, including how angry the rime ice was, vividly. Fire You was very excited to hear it. In his joy, Yu also took the initiative to talk about the battle between his clan leader and Rime Ice. Since he had a common language with Uncle Long, Yu naturally did not feel that the days of waiting were so difficult. At the same time, Lung Ruoxia's trial was in full swing. The amount of work required to refine the reincarnation pill was undoubtedly huge. To Lung Ruoxia and the rest, this was definitely a challenge. Chapter 2755, Mother? 1. Even though the reincarnation pill required a large amount of herbs, it was fortunate that the amount was not large. Even so, it would take a long time to melt all the herbs within the effective period. During Lung Ruoxia and the others' first trial, they had spent 3 days just to melt the herbs. In the end, their first trial had ended in failure. After their first failure, Lung Ruoxia and the rest were not in a hurry to start the second trial. The 4 top-notch alchemists sat quietly in the corner of the room, pondering over every step of the previous pill refinement. In the end, they concluded that there should be a problem with the control of the fire. Although Lung Ruoxia's performance was already perfect, the reincarnation pill was different from ordinary healing pills. It had a high requirement on the control of the fire. It was also the first time Lung Ruoxia had come into contact with such a tedious refining process, so it was understandable that she had made some mistakes. However, Shen Nuo and the other 2 did not console Lung Ruoxia. After all, in their hearts, the failure rate of an alchemist was nothing. They also believed that Lung Ruoxia's ability to endure would not be so bad that she could not take it after just one failure. The truth proved that they understood Lung Ruoxia very well. Lung Ruoxia didn't take this failure to heart. She was only worried about the lack of herbs for the trial. Although the Qilin clan had given her quite a few medicinal herbs, she couldn't possibly waste them all, right? With this thought in mind, she became even more cautious in the following trials. After that, he continued to experiment a few more times, and all of them ended in failure. However, even though he did not manage to concoct the real reincarnation pill, he accidentally concocted some other nameless medicinal pill. After that, when Shen Nuo and the other 2 top-grade pill refiners tested and verified it, the medicinal pill that he failed to concoct also had healing effects. Although it could not be compared to the legendary reincarnation pill that could bring one back from the dead, it was still much better than the well-known top-grade medicinal pill. With that, Lung Ruoxia's confidence was greatly boosted. The trial work continued. After an unknown period of time, when Lung Ruoxia had once again completed all the steps of refining the elixir, and was patiently waiting for the elixir to be completed, she suddenly felt a sense of panic for no reason. When she opened the elixir furnace, she was surprised to find a purple gold elixir lying quietly in the middle of the huge elixir furnace. The purple gold pill was extremely beautiful. It was the size of a baby's fist, and there was a faint glow on it. At this moment, a loud thunder suddenly came from the sky, and the purple gold pill became restless. Shui quickly protect the pill. It's the pill tribulation. All of a sudden Shen Nuo shouted. Immediately after, the 3 of them quickly surrounded Lung Ruoxia to protect her, wanting to help her block the purple gold pill. But unexpectedly, the purple gold pill did not hide under their protection. Instead, it flew into the air and broke through the window. At this time, in the sky outside, in addition to the rumbling of thunder, a huge lightning bolt as thick as an arm also fell vertically and smashed on their courtyard wall, splitting it into 2. This deafening sound naturally attracted the Qilin's attention. For a moment, the Qilin clan's Qilin all scrambled to rush towards the direction of the lightning and thunder. When they arrived at Lung Ruoxia's courtyard and saw the scene above the courtyard, all of them widened their eyes in disbelief. Oh my God! What was the purple gold object that was spinning in the air and creating a huge vortex? And what was this thunder and lightning? The Qilin race were all pill refining idiots, so they naturally didn't know what the so-called pill tribulation was. In fact, they didn't even recognize that the purple gold object was a pill. The Qilins stared at the sky in a daze. When they saw the purple gold object that was obviously trying to challenge the lightning, all of them were speechless. If it were them, they wouldn't even dare to challenge the authority of nature. This nameless purple gold object was really bold. At this moment, when he saw Lung Ruoxue and the rest looking at the sky worriedly, Huoyu quickly walked up to them and asked softly, "Miss Lung, what is that purple gold object? What's going on? Wasn't he refining the reincarnation pill? Why did they suddenly cause such a huge commotion? Thanks, you don't recognize that purple gold object?" Hearing Huoyu's question, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but ask, I should know?" The Fire Yu was a little dumbfounded. It really didn't know him? What was this strange thing? Looking at Huoyu, who was at a loss, Lung Ruoxue sighed softly. "This should be the reincarnation pill that I refined. However, before I could confirm it, the pill tribulation appeared. But this guy shouldn't be simple. Reincarnation? Reincarnation pill?" The Fire Yu stuttered. It had never thought that the reincarnation pill Lung Ruoxue had concocted would be so terrifying. Could this pill really be eaten? Would there be any problems? Looking at Huoyu's worried expression, Lung Ruoxue patted its head as if she was coaxing a puppy. "It's too early to worry. Let's wait for this little guy to pass the pill tribulation first. If you can't pass the pill tribulation, the reincarnation pill you make will only turn to dust." "Oh." The Fire Yu unconsciously responded. Obviously, it was completely dumbfounded. At the same time, the lightning in the sky was even thicker than before. The sky above the Qilin clan's territory was completely covered by dark clouds. The dark sky made people's hearts heavy. In an instant, a bolt of lightning as thick as an arm descended from the sky. Unwilling to be outdone, the purple gold pill met it. After a long time, the lightning disappeared. The glow on the purple gold pill's body had also dimmed significantly. However, very quickly, the purple gold pill began to repair itself, and the glow on its body became even more dazzling than before. If it hadn't seen it with its own eyes, the Fire Yu would never have believed the truth in front of it. But now, it had to admit that Lung Ruoxue was right. This elixir was not simple. However, would such an extraordinary pill be willingly consumed by a human? Unfortunately, Huoyu didn't have time to think about it. The second lightning bolt struck down again. This time it was at least half a circle thicker than the first one. Huoyu couldn't help but worry about the elixir that he had just refined. After all, it could be the reincarnation pill. The reincarnation pill was the hope of the Qilin clan. Of course, it didn't want anything to happen to it. After some thought, it was ready to help but was stopped by Lung Ruoxue. "I have to go help it," Fire Yu said urgently. "Don't worry, it can handle it on its own. If you help it, it will affect its spirituality," Lung Ruoxue reminded. "But what if it can't make it through? Wouldn't that be a waste of time?" Huoyu was very worried. Lung Ruoxue shook her head. "No matter what, this is something it should experience." From the way this purple gold pill rejected the protection of Shen Nua and the others, Lung Ruoxue knew that this little fellow was a very strong-headed one. Since that was the case, she naturally would not stop this little fellow from improving. After hearing what she said, although the Fire Yu was still a little worried, it did not strongly want to help. However, it kept walking on the ground, revealing the tension in its heart. Chapter 2756, Mother? 2. As the power of the thunderbolts increased, the pill tribulation that the purple gold pill had to bear naturally became heavier and heavier. Its flickering state also made Huoyu's heart jump to his throat. It was too exciting and too shocking. After a long time, the glow of the lightning gradually faded, but the dark clouds had not dispersed. Lung Ruoxue and the rest could not be sure if the pill tribulation had truly ended. Furthermore, from the state of the purple gold pill, it seemed to be waiting for something. As expected, the moment Lung Ruoxue and the rest had this thought, the sky changed color. Several bolts of lightning as thick as an arm descended at the same time, striking straight at the purple gold pill. In an instant, the purple gold pill was drowned in lightning. "It's finished. I'm finished." It was its reincarnation pill. Huoyu felt that the reincarnation pill was going to die this time, because it was already a little difficult for the reincarnation pill to resist the thunderbolts. This time, he was afraid that it would die. Huoyu's heart ached. He stared at the thunder and lightning with tears in his eyes. He suddenly hated them. Without them, the clan leader might have already woken up. But now there was no hope at all. Sob. Why would a pill tribulation appear? It could not understand. The Fireu, which was about to turn its gaze to Lung Ruoxue for an inquiry, suddenly felt a strange aura. It turned its head abruptly, and was surprised to find that the thunder and lightning that had not dispersed for a long time in the sky had disappeared without a trace. Instead, what replaced the thunder and lightning was a golden pillar of light. It looked a little like when the rules of heaven and earth descended. What was this? Then it heard a cheerful laughter coming from the light beam. When the light beam disappeared, a tender and clear child's voice came to everyone's ears. Aha! Emborn! You bastard! Who was speaking? The Qilin clan, led by Huoyu, were all dumbfounded. They could not find the owner of the voice, so they all turned to look at Lung Ruoxue in unison. Lung Ruoxue did not know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you all looking at me? Don't tell me you think I'm the one talking. Lung Ruoxue smiled helplessly. The one who spoke was definitely not you. But you should know. Huoyu said with certainty. All right. I do know it said so. Lung Ruoxue pointed her finger. Huoyu followed Lung Ruoxue's finger and turned his head around. He realized that the purple gold pill had floated behind him. Ugh. Could it be that Lung Ruoxue was referring to it? No, this is impossible. How could a pill speak? Huoyu would never believe it. However, at this moment a voice suddenly sounded from behind Huoyu. Hee. Big guy, I'm the one who spoke. As the elixir spoke, Huoyu couldn't continue lying to himself. Then he was so scared that his legs went soft and he directly collapsed on the ground. Oh my god. These days even medicinal pills could speak. Did this still want to live like a beast? With that thought in mind, Huoyu ran out of Lung Ruoxue's courtyard as if he was being chased by an evil spirit. Its actions also confused the purple gold pill. Thanks floating to Lung Ruoxue's side, Danyao shook his round body and asked Lung Ruoxue, Mom, what happened to it? He asked. Mom. Hearing this form of address, Lung Ruoxue was once again shocked. Could he not call her that? Even though she had refined this pill herself, Lung Ruoxue truly did not wish for this little fellow to call her mommy. However, after hearing what the little guy said, Jiang Ning was quite interested. Little guy, you call her mom, then what should you call us? Dad. Jiang Ning's words made Lung Ruoxue speechless. You bastard. Wasn't this taking advantage of him? Can you not be like this? Kiss. Lung Ruoxue was very worried. Even if this pill wanted to call him father, it wouldn't be Jiang Ning's turn, right? As for the newly born Danyao, it was indeed very capable. Its small body leaned to the side and said with a slight disdain, I don't need a father. I only need a mother. With that, it looked at Lung Ruoxue obediently and said, Mom, I'm good, right? Be good. Lung Ruoxue didn't know what she could say. When the Qilin clan members saw how happy and harmonious they were as a family, they were speechless and didn't know what to say. However, Uncle Long and the others were quite calm, because Xue Er's miracles were too many to count. It didn't seem strange that she had a child with medicinal pills. She wondered how the evil man would feel if he knew how many pills he had. They were suddenly looking forward to it. But now this was obviously not as important as the identity of this medicinal pill. After confirming that the other party was indeed the reincarnation pill, Lung Ruoxue and the rest were deeply worried. This little fellow had already developed intelligence and could even speak. Could it still be eaten? Even though Lung Ruoxue had unintentionally refined an antidote pill that was quite spiritual in the past, that antidote pill could not speak due to its low grade. However, this little thing could. And he kept calling her mother. It was undeniable that Lung Ruoxue's heart had turned soft after hearing this childlike voice. Hence, she was also extremely conflicted. She already knew the importance of the reincarnation pill to the Qilin race. But this pill? Everyone sat in the living room, sighing and discussing the fate of the reincarnation pill. The reincarnation pill seemed to know that the time to decide its fate had come. So it was unusually quiet. Seeing it like this, everyone couldn't bear it. Schwer, why don't we make another reincarnation pill? After thinking for a while, Jiang Ning came up with an idea. I want to, but am afraid I don't have enough herbs. Lung Ruoxue said, feeling a little angry. AI. What should he do then? Could it be that this little fellow is going to die right after it's born? Jiang Ning looked at the reincarnation pill with sympathy. The reincarnation pill was also relatively quiet. Idiot. Idiot. Who said we're for eating? At that moment, an unfamiliar voice suddenly rang out in the living room. Lung Ruoxue and the rest raised their heads subconsciously and saw another purple gold pill floating in front of their eyes. That pill was almost exactly the same as the reincarnation pill beside them. However, it was much bigger and its color was darker. At this moment, the purple gold pill was throbbing violently, showing the anger in its heart. When the purple gold pill saw Lung Ruoxue, it snorted coldly. Your father's new disciple. After asking this question, it circled around Lung Ruoxue again, as if it was observing her. Lung Ruoxue nodded her head, then graciously allowed the purple gold pill to be evaluated. She could already tell that this pill was the one her master had refined. However, shouldn't it be in the hands of the Ripple Witch? Why would he be here? The astonished Lung Ruoxue didn't even have the time to voice out the doubt in her heart when she heard the purple gold pill say with a tone of disdain, "What an idiot! He doesn't know that the reincarnation pill isn't meant to be eaten." Chapter 2757, Mother? 3. Hearing this, Lung Ruoxue's face darkened. Wasn't it normal that she didn't know? It was likely that no one in the entire divine realm would know about this. Of course, this was with the exception of her master, who had already fallen. When Uncle Long and the others heard this, they couldn't help but reveal shocked expressions. This was the first time he had heard that medicinal pills were not meant to be eaten. Then what was it for? Play. The pill recipe and experience that master left me did not have any records about the reincarnation pill. That's why I'm not clear about the effects of the reincarnation pill. Taking a deep breath, Lung Ruoxue told herself not to be calculative over a single pill before realizing her dream. Like this? It seems that I have wronged you. The purple gold pill said after some thought. Seeing that the new purple gold pill was willing to correct its mistakes, Lung Ruoxue naturally did not hold it against it. However, she still asked out of curiosity, "Are you the reincarnation pill that my master refined? I heard that you've fallen into the hands of Wuxia. Why have you suddenly appeared in the territory of the Qilin clan?" "Of course I am. What qualifications does Wuxia have to obtain me? Although she caught me once, I managed to escape. I've been hiding since then. As for why I'm here, it's because of this." The purple gold pill pointed at the reincarnation pill beside Lung Ruoxue. "I didn't expect that it was the reincarnation pill that I concocted that attracted you." Lung Ruoxue asked in surprise. If I wasn't afraid that you would hurt it, I wouldn't have made this trip." The purple gold pill said proudly. We don't want to harm it, but the Qilin clan's patriarch can't just leave it be." Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. "Idiot. Didn't I say that I was afraid you would use the wrong method?" The purple gold pill roared. "Thank you, brother." The reincarnation pill moved to the side of the purple gold pill gratefully and rubbed against it affectionately. "You don't have to thank me. Just follow me in the future, okay? Look at your strength. No wonder you were eaten by humans as an ordinary pill." The purple gold pill roared with a look of disappointment. The reincarnation pill, who had been shouted at, looked at the big brother beside him with a humble expression, as if he had found his backbone. However, it was afraid that its mother would not agree to it hanging out with its big brother. Hence, it looked at Lung Ruoxue very carefully and asked, "Mom, can I be with brother?" "Sure." Lung Ruoxue nodded, then turned her gaze towards the purple gold pill and asked, "You said that the reincarnation pill isn't meant to be eaten. Can you tell me how to use it to save people?" "It's very simple. You just need to place us next to the injured. In this way, the spiritual energy we release will naturally heal the injuries of the injured. If the wounded ate us directly, it wouldn't be saving our lives, but killing us. The spiritual energy in our bodies isn't something that just anyone can handle. The purple gold pill replied honestly. Lung Ruoxue gave it some thought, and felt that it made sense. In itself, the number of medicinal herbs required to refine the reincarnation pill was extremely large. There were also countless natural treasures. The spiritual energy contained in such a pill was naturally huge. If someone could really swallow it, it would be strange if they didn't burst. However, they were too concerned about it, so none of them had thought of this before. Now that the purple gold pill had reminded them, they couldn't help but feel some lingering fear. If something really happened to the Qilin race's patriarch because he ate the reincarnation pill, it would be strange if the Qilin race didn't treat them as their mortal enemies. More importantly, they couldn't bear to see the reincarnation pill being eaten. Now that they knew the reincarnation pill didn't need to be eaten and could save the Qilin clan leader, they were naturally happy. This was a win-win situation. After settling a huge matter on her mind, Lung Ruoxue personally took the reincarnation pill to look for the Fire Yu. Previously, Huoyu did not dare to believe the fact that the pill could speak and was quite shocked. Therefore, he did not rush them to ask about the reincarnation pill. However, now that she had the correct method to save the Qilin clan leader, Lung Ruoxue was naturally unwilling to waste any more time. She found a Qilin to lead the way and headed to Huoyu's residence. The moment she entered his room, Lung Ruoxue noticed that he was sitting on a chair listlessly. She had no idea what he was thinking about. "You're here." Feeling the swaying figure in front of him, Huoyu greeted him indifferently. Lung Ruoxue nodded and found a seat. "I've brought the reincarnation pill." After a long while, Lung Ruoxue saw that the other party had no intention of speaking, so she took the initiative to speak. "Can that pill be eaten? Will something happen to you?" Upon hearing this, Huoyu finally reacted and asked with a frightened expression. "You can't eat it." Lung Ruoxue told the truth, and Huoyu revealed an expression of "I knew it." "Woo. I knew it. That pill was a monster, it couldn't be eaten at all." At the thought of this, Huoyu even began to cry. Lung Ruoxue was forced to swallow the words she wanted to say when she saw its state. She hadn't finished, alright? How could this guy's endurance be so weak? Lung Ruoxue was speechless, but she kept her silence to save Huoyu some face. Unfortunately, the purple gold pill couldn't bear to see Huoyu's dead look, so he shouted, "You bastard! Look at your current appearance, which part of you still looks like a Qilin? Pull yourself together. Don't act like someone else owes you 20 to 80,000. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. This medicinal pill was also quite cowardly when it came to scolding people. Thanks on the other hand, the Fire Yu was completely dumbfounded. It stared at the purple gold elixir for a long time, then glanced at the similar elixir that was obediently floating beside Lung Ruoxue. It suddenly reacted and roared, "Mother! Help me! It's too scary." It had been scolded by a single pill, so how could there be two reincarnation pills? And this one was obviously much fiercer than the other one. Seeing that Huoyu had actually cried for help, Lung Ruoxue was also in a mess. She tried her best to comfort Huoyu. "Your Excellency Fire Yu, please calm down. This is really damaging to your prestige as the acting clan leader." "Calm down? How am I supposed to calm down? I've lived for so long, but I've never been scolded by a medicinal pill before. This was truly too terrifying. How could such a thing happen?" Huoyu was a little too agitated and roared. Hearing her words, Lung Ruoxue didn't know how to comfort it. After that, Huoyu asked again, "Miss Lung, can you explain why there are two reincarnation pills? Don't tell me that you're the one who refined these two." "No, I only managed to make one." Lung Ruoxue was very honest. Huoyu was horrified. Could it be that there was really a ghost? "Idiot. I was made by my father." The purple gold pill roared. "Dad? Who's your father?" Huoyu asked in a silly way. "He's my master." Lung Ruoxue informed him helplessly. She had wanted to say this just now, but she never had the chance. "Master Yu." This time, Huoyu was even more confused. That reincarnation pill should be in the hands of Wu Chen? In the past, Wu Yan had wanted to use it to exchange for her clan's submission. However, he was rejected by them. They knew very well that even if they managed to save their clan leader with the reincarnation pill, their clan leader wouldn't be happy if he found out. Yes, it was attracted by the reincarnation pill I made. That's why you're seeing two now. Lung Ruoxue explained. Shouldn't it be in the hands of Wu Chen? Why are you running around? Huoyu asked with uncertainty. You bastard. I'll say it one last time. Rimais did catch me, but I escaped. So I'm free now. Please don't put me together with that annoying woman Wu Han. Otherwise I'll be angry. And if I'm angry, don't even think about asking me to save your clan head. The purple gold pill threatened. Upon hearing this, Huoyu immediately perked up. He looked at the purple gold elixir nervously and asked excitedly, You can save the clan leader? But I thought you couldn't eat it? That was what Lung Ruoxue had said just now, wasn't it? I can't be eaten, but that doesn't mean I can't save people, understand? The purple gold pill asked indifferently. I understand. I understand. The fire you instantly resurrected on the spot, as if it had been injected with chicken blood. At this time, all the fear and terror were gone, and only joy was left. After that, it left Lung Ruoxue and the two reincarnation pills behind and scuttled out of the room. It flew around in the sky in excitement, and would even howl from time to time. Looking at the seemingly crazy Fire Yu, Lung Ruoxue really wanted to say that she didn't know it. In just one day, she had witnessed the many aspects of the Fire Yu, which made her deeply conflicted. In the end, she came to an important conclusion. Huoyu's character could not be judged by common sense. The Fire Yu's jumping up and down also attracted many Qilin to come and watch. Especially the elders of the Qilin clan. They didn't know why the acting clan leader had suddenly gone crazy. After they caught Huoyu and asked him what had happened, the entire Qilin clan was in an uproar. Roars and the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground rang out in succession. Upon seeing this, Lung Ruoxue decisively chose to return to her room. The entire Qilin clan had gone mad, and she didn't want to be accidentally injured. After the incident, after the entire Qilin clan had calmed down, Huoyu suddenly realized that Lung Ruoxue had left without him knowing. How could this be? Huoyu brought the elders to Lung Ruoxue's residence. Without another word, he pulled Lung Ruoxue along and left. Lung Ruoxue, who was being pulled, used a lot of strength to pull her arm out of the other party's large claws. She then looked at Fire Guangdong helplessly and said, Your Excellency Fire Yu, if you have something to say it properly. Don't touch me, okay? My small arms and legs can't withstand your pulling. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did I hurt you? Huoyu was apologetic when he heard that. Then he said, I was looking for you to save the clan leader with the reincarnation pill. That's why I'm a little anxious. It was afraid that the reincarnation pill would not listen to its command. Otherwise, it would not have bothered Lung Ruoxue. I can understand. Let's go now. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Chapter 2758. An outrageous request. 1. She was well aware of the importance of the reincarnation pill to the Qilin clan. Naturally, she would not blame Huoyu for being reckless. As soon as Fire Yu heard this, it immediately put Lung Ruoxue on its back. Then it teleported away at lightning speed. Uncle Long and the others, who had witnessed all this, could only sigh. This was because the old Qilin was really too restless. It had already waited for so many years. How could it be that it was only a few more days? Of course, it wasn't that they didn't understand the Fire Yu's eagerness. They just felt that the person in front of them was different from the Fire Qilin they knew. When they first saw the Fire Yu, they thought it was a very serious beast. Now, it had completely overturned the unattainable image of the Qilin in their hearts. Ai. With a heavy sigh, everyone went back to what they were doing. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue could only feel the wind whistling by her ears. The speed of the Fire Yu was so fast that it brought about a gust of strong wind, causing Lung Ruoxue to be unable to open her eyes. By the time she could open her eyes, she suddenly realized that they had arrived at their destination. At this moment, she couldn't help but suspect that the Qilin had done it on purpose. However, when she saw Huoyu looking at her apologetically, Lung Ruoxue immediately dispelled this thought. Huoyu was probably just too impatient. Then he looked around. Lung Ruoxue was surprised to find that they were surrounded by mountains. Their current location should be in a mountain stream that was even deeper than the Qilin clan's territory. Where is this place? Lung Ruoxue's face was filled with question marks as she looked at the fire yu. Actually, she had more or less guessed it, but she had yet to verify it with the fire yu. The chief is sleeping here, Huoyu suddenly said with a sad face. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue could only pat its head as if she was coaxing a little pet. This time, the fire yu protested. Detestable. Don't touch me like you're touching a dog, okay? I'm used to it. Lung Ruoxue smiled a little awkwardly, but there wasn't much apology on her beautiful face. Huoyu could only sigh helplessly when he saw this. All right. It could only treat him as a human who loved beasts. However, it had lived for so long and was still treated like a small beast. This kind of thing was really quite novel to it. However, despite the novelty, the proper business was more important. After that, Huoyu's expression turned serious and he requested, "Please come with me to save the clan leader. You lead the way." Lung Ruoxue let out a soft sigh. Even though this Qilin wasn't very reliable at times, at least it didn't forget the proper business. The fire yu nodded and used its claws to cast a few spells. Lung Ruoxue watched as the mountain walls around her split in the middle, and a huge cave appeared in front of her. Nodding at Lung Ruoxue, Huoyu walked in front and led the way. Lung Ruoxue followed closely behind while observing her surroundings. The formation outside the cave must have been set up by Shui Mo. Although it looked simple, there was a secret behind it. If they didn't know the way to activate the formation, they would be in deep trouble. And in such an important place, there definitely wouldn't be many people who knew the magic art. Otherwise, the Qilin clan leader wouldn't be able to stop. Thanks. Lung Ruoxue's thoughts ran wild as she followed Huoyu into the dimly lit cave. She did not know how long she had walked, but her eyes suddenly lit up. At this moment, she had been brought to a door that looked like a secret room by fire yu. However, the temperature outside the secret chamber was unusually low, as if they were in an ice cellar. It was only when Huoyu opened the door in front of Lung Ruoxue that she was sure that this was really an ice cellar. It was a world of ice and snow inside. It was a vast expanse of white everywhere. The temperature here could no longer be described as low. Lung Ruoxue shuddered and couldn't help but lean closer to Huoyu's furry and warm body to keep herself warm. Who knew that Huoyu would just turn around and look at her indifferently? He then reminded her with a serious face. "Miss Lung, I'm a Kirin that already has a master. You can't take advantage of me. Do you understand?" Upon hearing this, Lung Ruoxue was instantly flustered. She couldn't help but kick Huoyu's butt and roar. "Who took advantage of you? If it wasn't for the cold here, I wouldn't have come near you." Lung Ruoxue was furious. No wonder Feng Yu was so stupid. It was because the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam was crooked. She had finally found the root of the problem today. When she first saw the fire yu, how could she have thought that this guy was a normal Qilin? Oh my god. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue was really regretful. From the way it reacted when it saw the 2 reincarnation pills, she should have known that fire yu was an abnormal fellow. It was rare that the Qilin clan had not been led too badly under its leadership. At least, there were still normal Qilin in the Qilin clan. Hehe. I'm just teasing you. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue seemed to be a little angry, Huoyu smiled awkwardly and said, "In fact, it just wanted to ease the tense atmosphere." Are you kidding me? Lung Ruoxue was even angrier when she heard these 3 words. Did she look that funny? Or was she someone that anyone could tease? The last person who dared to tease me is now in the 9 Nether prison. Lung Ruoxue put on a stern face and pretended to be serious. I was just joking. You don't have to curse me like this, do you?" Huoyu was very worried. Was the 9 Nether prison a good place to go? I'm not joking. Lung Ruoxue's words were unusually serious. She held back her laughter and said, "You probably don't know the identity of my man, do you?" What is his identity?" Huoyu was very cooperative and asked curiously. It had heard that Lung Ruoxue had a fiancé by her side. However, Lung Ruoxue shouldn't have brought that person along with her to the Qilin clan, right? You know the Dark Lord of the Nine Nether prison, right? Lung Ruoxue said with a smile, but she couldn't help but think to herself, so this is what it feels like to have a backer? Oh. Scaring a Kirin shouldn't be a crime, right? Who asked this Kirin to tease her just now? Now of course she had to get back at him. Who asked her to take revenge? Your man is the master of the dark world? After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Huoyu revealed a constipated expression and couldn't help but ask. It was undeniable that Lung Ruoxue's answer had stunned it. It wasn't that he didn't want to believe Lung Ruoxue's words, but the truth was too shocking. One must know that the mistress of the dark world was the ruler of the Nine Nether prison while Lung Ruoxue was in the god world. How did the two of them get together? Was this possible? It was a little skeptical, but Firyu, who thought that it did not show any suspicion on its face, could not possibly hide it from Lung Ruoxue. Green Vessel, the little secret agent, had already reported the Qilin's thoughts to Lung Ruoxue. However, Lung Ruoxue did not get angry. Instead, she smiled and explained, "That's right. Otherwise, do you think that I would still be unscathed despite the fact that Fog has repeatedly found trouble with me? Ugh, no wonder." At this moment, it was impossible for Huoyu to have any more suspicions, because what Lung Ruoxue said was the truth. If she didn't have some powerful means of self-protection, she wouldn't be alive and kicking now. She was afraid that the mist ripple would have dealt with her long ago. Chapter 2759. An outrageous request too. Hee. I'm sorry. I didn't know that Miss Lung had such a powerful backer, but if you want to be with the mistress of the dark world, I'm afraid it won't be that easy, right? The Firyu was flexible. Although it was a little frightened at the beginning, it quickly calmed down and continued to inquire about information. However, Lung Ruoxue naturally wouldn't let it have its way. She didn't expect this Qilin to be so gossipy, so she only said indifferently, "This has nothing to do with you, Fire Guangdong. However, if there's another chance, I'd be happy to take you on a tour of the Nine Nether prison this afternoon. What do you think?" It didn't want to go. Also, what did he mean by another chance? Could they have been there? Seeing through Huoyu's thoughts, Lung Ruoxue kindly answered, "Just as you thought, we've already been there." This time, it was Fire Guangdong's turn to be confused. Fuck. How did this girl know what it was thinking? After the Firyu was done messing around, it started to feel horrified again. At this moment, it heard Lung Ruoxue say with a smile, "Calm down, I can read minds." What was Qingju's was hers, so Lung Ruoxue did not have any qualms when she said this. However, Huoyu's expression was extremely ugly. Fuck. The truth was actually like this. Was this still beastly? At this moment, Huoyu wished he could just smash his head into the ice and kill himself. Of course, it was only thinking about it, and had no intention of actually putting it into action. However, its ugly expression was enough to make Lung Ruoxue smile. Lung Ruoxue saw that she had dealt enough of a blow, so she kindly reminded, "Your Excellency Firyu, are we still going to save the people? Save him. Hurry up and run." When Huoyu heard Lung Ruoxue's words, it suddenly reacted. He had almost delayed his official business. This was really too much. After that, it brought Lung Ruoxue through the layers of ice and finally, they arrived at the center of the ice room. Then it pointed at a huge block of ice with its huge claws and said, "The clan leader is inside." Inside? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Although the entire block of ice was white, it was not transparent. Therefore, if one observed from the outside, one would not be able to see the situation inside at all. There was no way to confirm whether the Qilin clan's patriarch was really here. Furthermore, this ice block was a little too big. Lung Ruoxue truly felt that she, who was standing at the tip of the iceberg, was so small and unremarkable. In an instant, she felt a sense of inferiority. Huoyu's next words made Lung Ruoxue confused again, because Huoyu said to her with a serious face, "Miss Lung, we have to get rid of this ice." "Open it?" You do it." Lung Ruoxue replied rudely. She did not even want to think about the meaning behind Huoyu's words. Her instincts told her that the other party wanted to use her as a coolie. Thanks, it had to be said that Lung Ruoxue was right. Fire Yu's intention was indeed to get Lung Ruoxue to help him. Hence, when he saw Lung Ruoxue asking him to come over calmly, Fire Yu's heart was in a deep dilemma. He said shamelessly, "Miss Lung, I can't open this ice block by myself. You have to help me." "How can I help?" "I can help you if you want to roast it with fire." Lung Ruoxue said calmly. "You can't use fire, you'll hurt the chief." Fire Yu hurriedly stopped her. If it was possible to use fire, it wouldn't need to ask Lung Ruoxue for help. "Then how do you want me to help you?" Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Could it be that this fellow wanted her to help him break the ice? "Clan leader Huoyu, look at my small body, and then look at yours. Do you really think I can help you?" Lung Ruoxue asked after some thought. "It can be done. As long as you're willing to." Huoyu suddenly said shyly. "Then tell me, how do you want me to help?" Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. "We just need to use our body temperature to slowly melt the ice." Huoyu told her the method, and Lung Ruoxue's face turned black immediately. "You bastard! What kind of method was this?" The other party was the Qilin clan's clan leader, not her clan's old ancestor. On what basis did she have to sacrifice herself? At this moment, Lung Ruoxue was completely certain that Huoyu's head had been kicked by the ball. Otherwise, why would it have such a strange thought? Seeing that Lung Ruoxue seemed to be a little unhappy, Huoyu laughed awkwardly and added, "This is very easy. If we work together, it will be very fast, and we won't hurt the patriarch's body. Can you help me?" "Help you, my ass." Lung Ruoxue was so angry that she wanted to curse. Did this stinky Qilin really think that she was a coolie? And that it would be faster if the two of them worked together? Why didn't it look for the Qilin to work together? Wouldn't that be faster? With that thought in mind, Lung Ruoxue simply said with a cold expression, "Your Excellency Fire Guangdong, I'm only here to save your family head with the reincarnation pill. If you haven't done the preparatory work well, don't waste everyone's time. Besides, I'm not so great that I'll sacrifice myself for others. Of course, if you really want my help, I can only use fire." After she finished speaking, Lung Ruoxue even deliberately flashed out her small flame and prepared to burn the huge ice block. When Huoyu saw this, he was so frightened that his heart was trembling. He quickly stopped her. "Miss Lung, your words are too serious. I'm not asking you to sacrifice yourself. I just want to use your body temperature to melt this block of ice. This won't take much effort, really. I guarantee that you won't be in any danger. Please don't use fire. You'll hurt the chief. Melt this ice? Rest for a few days? It won't take much effort." "There's no danger?" Lung Ruoxue repeated her question as her expression turned uglier by the second. However, Huoyu did not feel that there was anything wrong with Lung Ruoxue's tone. Instead, he nodded vigorously and said, Yes. I promise there's no danger. This is as easy as lifting a finger for you. How about it? Can you help me? Help your sister." Lung Ruoxue finally couldn't help but curse. After that, she was so angry that she kicked Huoyu's butt again. This time, she used more force and sent him flying. He crashed into a huge ice block. How detestable. This was really too despicable. Did he think she was a silly boy? No, it was the silly girl. Was she that easy to deceive? Lung Ruoxue was enraged. The consequences would be severe. After kicking the Fire Yu away, she did not even bother to look at it. She directly turned around and walked out of the ice room. Then she left alone. Not long after she left, the Fire Yu slowly slid down from the ice block that was stuck to it. As soon as it turned around, it immediately hugged the ice block behind it and cried, "Clan leader, did it hurt you? I didn't do it on purpose. That woman was too rough." Huoyu hugged the ice block and complained endlessly. Lung Ruoxue, who had left the ice room, searched for a long time like a headless fly before she finally found the way back to her residence. It was almost evening. Chapter 2760. An Outrageous Request 3. When Uncle Long and the others saw Lung Ruoxue, they thought that she had already completed her task, and that the Qilin clan leader had been rescued. Who knew that Lung Ruoxue wouldn't say a word after entering the living room? It was obvious that she wasn't in a good mood. "Schwerer, how's the situation?" After a long time, Master Ning could no longer hold back his curiosity and asked. No progress. Lung Ruoxue was finally willing to talk to someone, and Uncle Long and the others were very pleased. However, what did it mean that there was no progress? Didn't that fearsome reincarnation pill say that they had a way to save the Qilin clan leader? Could it be that he had been injured for too long? Can't be cured? Everyone's imagination ran wild as they looked at Lung Ruoxue in unison. Their faces were filled with question marks. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue was helpless and could only explain simply. I didn't see the Qilin clan leader at all. I only saw a huge block of ice. What was the meaning of this? Ice. Uncle Long's face was filled with even more questions. The Qilin clan leader was sealed in an ice block. Huoyu asked me to help him get out, but I refused. So I came back alone. Lung Ruoxue said through gritted teeth. When everyone saw her resentful look, they knew in their hearts that something had happened. Shui, since Huoyu asked you to help, you should help. It's easy to melt ice with your flame anyway. Jiang Ning asked carefully. He was simply too curious, but Lung Ruoxue had not been clear about what she was saying. He had no choice but to slowly probe and find out the truth that they wanted to know. Who knew that after Lung Ruoxue heard his words, the expression on her face became even more conflicted. The resentment in her tone also deepened as she said, if I could use fire to roast it, would I still need to be so angry that I came back? Then what will you use to save it? After learning a bit more, the curiosity on everyone's faces grew. Body temperature. Lung Ruoxue gritted her teeth and spat out these two words. Body temperature? Everyone was horrified. No wonder Shui was angry. Huoyu's request was really too much. Shui was not a member of the Qilin clan at all, and she had done them a favor, so how could the fire you be so insatiable? This was really enough to make them speechless. Shui, isn't the fire you angry that you came back like this? Uncle Long asked, thinking about Huoyu's reaction. I don't know. I kicked it away before I left. I guess it's holding the ice and crying now. Lung Ruoxue guessed. She had to admit that she was right again. Good job, but what should we do now? Are you leaving or staying? Uncle Long was conflicted. If he left, how would he deal with his relationship with the Qilin clan? However, if he didn't leave, Shui's anger would obviously not subside for a while. He was really in a difficult position. Stay. I still want to see what Huoyu is going to do next. Lung Ruoxue said very calmly. Although she was very angry with Huoyu, she could tell the severity of the matter. Naturally, she wouldn't leave so easily. Lung Ruoxue's words made Uncle Long and the others understand instantly. Shui was not planning to give Huoyu any face. And the truth was, not only did Lung Ruoxue not give Huoyu any face, she even despised Feng Yi who had been staying with them. Feng Yi, who had been chased out of their residence, was like a poor and helpless child. He guarded Lung Ruoxue and the others outside the courtyard and wailed. Sob. He felt so wronged. He wasn't the one who started this, so why did he have to vent his anger on him? Although Lung Ruoxue and the rest turned a blind eye to Feng Yi's cries of pain, it still attracted the attention of many members of the Qilin clan. Bingyan had also come. When she saw Feng Yi hugging a big tree outside the courtyard and sobbing without any care for his image, Bingyan's face darkened. What was this guy doing? Thanks Feng Yi enough? Don't you think it's embarrassing enough? Seeing Feng Yi cry without end, Bingyan angrily rebuked. However, Feng Yi clearly did not care about his reputation. Facing the crowd, he remained calm and replied fiercely. I've been abandoned and chased out, so why can't I cry? Don't tell me that you've never secretly cried before? Back then, when you were heartbroken, you cried a lot too. What right do you have to despise me for being embarrassing? Besides, the person I lost was my own person. It's none of your business. You, Bingyan trembled with anger at Feng Yi's words. It's fine if you embarrass yourself, but why bring up his past? Feeling that the surrounding clansmen seemed to be pointing at him, Bingyan retreated and was too lazy to care about Feng Yi's matter. He just snorted coldly and turned to leave. After Bingyan left, Feng Yi became even more unscrupulous, and no one could control him. After crying for a long time, The elders of the clan who had been waiting for the good news of the fire you all arrived together. After clarifying the situation, the elders were all depressed. So it was the acting clan leader who did this? More importantly, why didn't the guards report to them about Lung Ruoxia's return? The elders immediately had an emergency discussion, and finally decided to meet Lung Ruoxia personally. As for what they should say when they saw Lung Ruoxia, they were not sure now. He had to see how angry Lung Ruoxia was, right? Right now, no matter who they offended, they would not dare to offend Lung Ruoxia. After all, there was no one who could command the samsara pill. However, the moment they thought of the reason why Lung Ruoxia was angry, they could not help but secretly blame the acting clan head, who would occasionally be silly. Wasn't it just looking for trouble? You want me to help you melt the ice? Why would they help? This was originally the Qilin clan's matter. They should be very grateful that he was willing to help cure the clan leader. They really should not have any additional requests. Too much. He was really too much. Many of the Qilin elders felt that the acting clan head was acting a little out of line. Hence, the first thing they did after meeting Lung Ruoxia was to apologize to her. However, Lung Ruoxia was obviously still in a fit of anger. She asked indifferently, "Why are the elders apologizing to me? Has your Qilin clan done anything to let me down? We're here to apologize on behalf of the clan leader for his reckless behavior. He really shouldn't have such an excessive request of Miss Lung." The Qilin race's grand elder spoke on behalf of the other elders. Unfortunately, Lung Ruoxia did not accept the elders' apologies and said, "This is not the elders' fault, so it's not your turn to apologize." When the elders heard this, they all knew that the other party was asking for the substitute clan leader to come personally. The acting clan leader has not returned yet. When he returns, he will definitely come and apologize to Miss Lung personally. The Qilin Great Elder quickly declared, "Actually, from the fire use point of view, it's understandable for it to ask me to make a sacrifice. After all, in your hearts, your chief is the supreme and irreplaceable one. But please remember, I'm not from the Qilin clan, and it's not my duty to save your chief. I'm only willing to refine the reincarnation pill for you, because I see it as a hero. So please don't take my actions for granted. You don't have the capital to do that." After the great elder of the Qilin clan had expressed his stance, Lung Ruoxia did not show her usual courteousness to express her satisfaction. Instead, she reminded the great elder of the Qilin clan with an angry expression. When the Qilin great elder heard Lung Ruoxia's words, he was also rather surprised. He had already lowered his voice, so why did the other party become even more unyielding? This was definitely not the Lung Ruoxia he knew before. Or could it be that this was Lung Ruoxia's true face? The friendliness and gentleness that the other party had shown earlier was actually to give face to the Qilin race? After thinking about it this way, he suddenly recalled the rumors about Lung Ruoxia in the outside world. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that Lung Ruoxia might have given them too much face, to the point that they felt that Lung Ruoxia did not live up to the rumors. Now that Lung Ruoxia had revealed her domineering aura, the Qilin Great Elder was immediately alarmed. It seemed like the rumors outside were true. Lung Ruoxia truly couldn't be provoked. Look, didn't something happen? He was no longer as polite to the Qilin clan as before. This Ma Feng's nest was obviously stabbed by the acting chief, but he probably couldn't clean it up. After leaving Lung Ruoxia and the rest's residents resentfully, the elders did not dare to delay, and went to look for Huoyu. After they left, Uncle Long and the rest stared at Lung Ruoxia without saying a word. "Uncle Long, if you have anything to say, just say it," Lung Ruoxia said helplessly when she felt the puzzled gazes of Uncle Long and the others. "Swear, you're the one who asked me to say it." Uncle Long sighed and continued, "The Qilin race is different from the Dragon race, Phoenix race and White Tiger race. We can use more brutal means to deal with those three races, but to the Qilin race, shouldn't we do the same thing as before?" Lung Ruoxia understood what Uncle Long meant by like before, but she didn't want to be polite to the Qilin clan anymore. At the same time, she also believed that not all Qilin were like Huoyu, who thought that it was only right for them to do anything for their most respected clan leader. Of course, If the entire Qilin race thought this way, then she could only say that she had misjudged the beast. However, the Qilin clan's head elder, who she had little contact with, was clearly a reasonable beast. Otherwise, he wouldn't have specially come to apologize to her. In addition, she had a hard time being polite in the Qilin clan, so now she had to face these Qilin with her true appearance. She wanted to let these Qilins know that she was arrogant and proud. Her status wasn't any lower than the Qilin of the 4 supreme god kings. In fact, from a certain perspective, her status was even higher than them. She was being polite to them, because she was giving them face. Now she took back her face. He didn't want to give it anymore. In case some Qilin didn't understand. Chapter 2761. Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? 1. With this thought in mind, Lung Ruoxue calmly said to Uncle Long and the others, Uncle Long, have you ever thought about what kind of misconception we'll give the Qilin clan if we keep being polite to them? You're saying that they might think that we need something from it. Uncle Long said after thinking carefully. We should be standing on an equal basis when interacting with others. However, in the hearts of the Qilin clan, our positions should not be equal. After all, they have long been deeply rooted in the divine realm, while we are the new forces of the divine realm. Although we never thought that our status was lower than the Qilin race, if we continue to be polite to them, perhaps the Qilin will have such thoughts in their hearts. So what we need to do now is to show our strength at the right time, so that all the Qilin will face our existence. Lung Ruoxue replied honestly. When the few people present heard Lung Ruoxue's words, they could not help but fall into deep thought. It had to be said that Xue Er's words were very reasonable. There was no problem with being polite to the Qilin clan for a while. However, as time passed, more problems would arise. They wanted to have a long-term relationship with the Qilin clan. In this case, they had to stand on equal footing with the Qilin clan in order to have a long-term and fair relationship. Otherwise, problems would arise sooner or later. This was obviously not what they wanted to see. After some deep thought, Uncle Long and the others nodded in agreement with Lung Ruoxue's strategy. They weren't easy to bully, so what if the Qilin race had many hierarch experts? They had quite a few reverent god-level cultivators on their side. Furthermore, they still had Xue Er's unrivaled flames. They believed that no Qilin would be able to withstand Xue Er's flames. After making a quick decision, Lung Ruoxue's anger dissipated by half. Late at night, they all went back to their rooms to rest. At the same time, the elders of the Qilin clan, led by the first elder of the Qilin clan, also found the ice room. They entered the ice room and came to the place where the clan leader was sleeping. They saw Huoyu holding a big ice block and crying so sadly that even the fur on his chin had turned into icicles. The Qilin great elder was speechless. He stepped forward and grabbed Huoyu, then roared fiercely, "Damn it! What are you crying for? Do you know how much trouble you've caused? What about me? I'm being bullied, can't I cry?" Huoyu felt very wronged. The great elder had never shouted at him so fiercely before. Sob. It was so sad. You were bullied? By Lung Ruoxue? The Qilin great elder was exasperated. It was clearly the one who had angered that girl, alright? Now he actually felt that he was being bullied. What kind of logic was this? The Qilin great elder felt like he was going crazy. How could this guy be so stupid at such a critical moment? What an intolerable mistake. If it hadn't suddenly turned stupid, the clan leader would have been rescued and woken up by now. At the thought of this, the Qilin great elder felt that the acting clan leader in front of him was beyond saving. One had to know that most of the time their acting clan leader was quite normal. It was just that when it came to matters involving the clan leader, the acting clan leader would turn from normal to abnormal. If not, why would he have driven Lung Ruoxue away in anger? But now he was in big trouble. For a moment, the great elder of the Qilin clan had a headache and didn't know where to start. Let's go. Come with me to see Lung Ruoxue. You have to apologize to her personally. The first elder of the Qilin clan did not want to waste his breath on Fire Yu. He pulled Fire Yu over and said straightforwardly, "I'm not going. Why should I apologize to her? I'm the victim here, okay?" The aggrieved expression on Huoyu's face became even more apparent. Thanks. When the Qilin first elder heard this, he was so angry that he almost fainted. You feel wronged? Why are you feeling wronged? You've already angered Lung Ruoxue. Yet you're still acting like you've been wronged. The first elder of the Qilin clan was speechless. He glared at Huoyu with a look of disappointment. The other elders also stared at Huoyu with an unsightly expression. At this moment, Huoyu finally noticed that something was wrong and asked carefully. First elder, you're saying that I've angered Lung Ruoxue? I should be the one getting angry, right? I was kicked by her, and my butt still hurts. You deserve the pain in your butt. How could you let Lung Ruoxue use her body heat to help you melt the ice that was surrounding the clan leader? Did water get into your brain? The Qilin Great Elder roared. What's the big deal? It's just a matter of raising one's hand. Until now, the fire you still didn't feel that its request was too much. It was still at a loss. You're really out of your mind. Lung Ruoxue was a human. Do you understand human? The first elder of the Qilin clan continued to roar. I know. Well, you nodded honestly. If you know, why do you still want her to help? Do you want to kill her? Do you think she'll be fine after a few days of rest with our strong bodies? The more the Qilin Great Elder thought about it, the angrier he got. In the end, he simply pulled Huoyu's ear and shouted. I didn't think so much. I just thought that since she's here, it's only right for her to help. I really didn't mean it. After hearing what the Qilin Great Elder had to say, the Fireyou finally realized how stupid it had been. It had only thought about saving the clan leader, and had completely forgotten that Lung Ruoxue was a human. However, would Lung Ruoxue believe it if it said that it had forgotten? This was clearly a problem. Thinking of this, Huoyu immediately said with a bitter face, So that's why she kicked me. I thought she suddenly went crazy. You're the one who suddenly went crazy. You're the one who's crazy. The first elder of the Qilin family was so angry that he started to punch and kick the Fireyou. However, the Fireyou, who knew that it was in the wrong, didn't dare to fight back. It was only when the first elder was tired that he let it go. However, the great elder Qilin was tired from the beating. After he stopped, he gave the other elders a look. The next moment, all the elders swarmed forward and ruthlessly beat up the Fireyou. Huoyu was the acting clan leader, and had great power. However, if it made a mistake, the elders, led by the first elder, had the right to teach it a lesson, but the Fireyou could only accept it. This was the rule set by the clan leader before he fell asleep. It had always regarded the clan leader's words as an imperial edict, so it absolutely did not dare to violate it. By the time the elders had finished beating him up and stopped, Huoyu's entire body had been beaten blue and purple. His original majestic and mighty Qilin appearance could no longer be seen. The fur on his body was all stuck together, and he looked extremely embarrassed. However, after being beaten up, Huoyu miraculously felt at ease. Because this meant that the elders would no longer be angry because of this, but the elders still didn't have a good expression on their faces. Looking at the elders with hidden bitterness, Huoyu asked carefully, What do we do now? Is that little human girl really angry? If we weren't angry, would we have come to you? You've completely angered her. Do you know that? The first elder of the Qilin clan was so angry that he roared again. Fireyou shuddered and said in a soft voice, I didn't say anything that was too much. Lung Ruoxue sure is petty. Chapter 2762. Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? 2. It was very sad. Humans were really unfriendly and difficult to get along with. What else do you want to say? When he heard Huoyu's unapologetic words, the great elder of the Qilin clan really wanted to kick him. At this moment, he could definitely empathize with her and knew how furious Lung Ruoxue was. Then, without saying a word, he lifted Huoyu's neck and shouted, Follow me and apologize to Lung Ruoxue. If you can't coax her, you'll get it. Upon hearing this, Fireyou was completely worried. It felt that the great elder was too good at helping outsiders. After all, it was the acting patriarch of the Qilin clan. How could he lower himself to apologize to humans? This was really damaging to the reputation of the Qilin clan. Therefore, it was quite unhappy. However, the great elder of the Qilin clan didn't care so much. He had obviously seen through Huiyu's thoughts, so he only said indifferently, "Do you still want to cure the clan leader?" "I want to," Huiyu said without hesitation. "Then why are you still talking? Why aren't you following me to apologize to Leng Ruoxue? Of course, if you can control the 2 reincarnation pills, I have no objections if you don't apologize." The first elder of the Qilin clan said calmly, "I'll go." Upon hearing this, Fire Yu immediately became excited. Although it was a little embarrassing to apologize to a human, curing the clan leader was obviously more important, so it couldn't care about anything else. It was just an apology. What's the big deal? Fire Yu had a good plan. It thought that it would be forgiven as long as it apologized to Leng Ruoxue. After all, it didn't do it on purpose. It just didn't think too much about it. However, when he really went and got the cold shoulder, the Fire Yu suddenly realized that it would not be so easy to apologize. What should I do?" After being refused entry for 2 consecutive days, Yu was completely dumbfounded. Things had obviously gone beyond its imagination. This feeling of being out of control made it feel quite unpleasant. The Fire Yu Qilins sat in the meeting hall gloomily, and they could only stare helplessly. After an unknown period of time, an elder finally asked carefully, "Acting Patriarch, First Elder, what should we do about this? I didn't expect that girl wouldn't even want to see us now." The one who provoked her was obviously the acting chief. Why would he vent his anger on us? The elder who spoke felt a little wronged. One had to know that he had been getting along well with Uncle Long, and the others a few days ago. Who knew that after the acting clan leader had angered Leng Ruoxue, they were also not well received. Previously, it was Fengyi, and now it was their turn. The feeling of being neglected really made them uncomfortable. Moreover, this was the territory of the Qilin clan, which made them even more depressed. When the Fire Yu heard the elder's complaint, it didn't dare to defend itself, except for showing a resentful and wronged expression. It was because the elders now had a lot of opinions about it. "Well, if you can't do it, then go and ask the ancestor to come out," the Qilin Great Elder said after helplessly thinking for a long time. The ancestor he was referring to was Shui Mo, who had a good relationship with Leng Ruoxue. However, ever since Shui Mo found out that they had invited Leng Ruoxue back with ulterior motives, Shui Mo had started to despise them. Thanks they didn't dare to see Shui Mo, but the situation was critical, and they had to ask for help from their ancestor. After the decision was made, First Elder Qi Lin dragged Huiyu, who was too scared to go, and the other elders to Shui Mo's place. Miraculously, they were not rejected. However, after they were invited into the room, Shui Mo glanced at Huiyu and the others without saying a word. Instantly, Huiyu and the others felt their hearts pounding. Old ancestor." The Fire Yu called out carefully. It was so nervous that it stuttered a little. "Are you people not visiting me for no reason?" Shui Mo grinned and said. Even though he had not stepped out of the house for the past few days, he had heard about how the Fire Yu had angered Leng Ruoxue. However, he was very calm and did not rush out to plead with Leng Ruoxue, because he wanted to see what these little fellows from the Qilin clan would do. As for when he would be able to save the clan leader, he was not in a hurry. Even though he had not spent a long time with Leng Ruoxue, he was clear that this little lass was a loyal person. Since she had already refined the reincarnation pill, she would naturally not leave her in the lurch. However, the duration could be long or short. Everything would depend on the Qilin race's decision. After thinking this through, Shui Mo naturally wanted to see how Fire Yu and the others would perform. But now he was obviously not satisfied with their performance. "Old ancestor, I've offended Leng Ruoxue by accident. Please help me." Seeing that his ancestor seemed to know everything, Huiyu didn't feel that it was difficult to say what he wanted to say. "How do you want me to help you?" Shui Mo's smile remained calm. "Old ancestor, please help me plead with Leng Ruoxue. Clan leader can't not save me." Huiyu sobbed. "That little lass Leng Ruoxue, did she say that she wants save clan head?" Shui Mo couldn't help asking. She didn't, but she didn't say anything about saving her." Huiyu explained. "You didn't say you'll save her, but that doesn't mean you want save her, you know? They're clearly looking at your performance now. So, I can't help you with this." Shui Mo refused. If he really helped to plead for her, that little girl might be even angrier. He didn't want Lung Ruoxue to think that he was using their friendship as a bargaining chip. In reality, he had always thought that he and Lung Ruoxue were old friends, especially when their research on formations was so in tune. Hence, he really didn't want his relationship with Lung Ruoxue to be mixed with other things. More importantly, it was indeed Huoyu's fault. With that little girl's vengeful character, she would not forgive Huoyu so easily. As for Huoyu, she would be depressed in the future. Shui Emo glanced at Huoyu with sympathy and said indifferently, "If you want to be forgiven, show some sincerity. Lung Ruoxue, that little girl, is definitely not an unreasonable person. Do you understand what I mean?" I understand. Huoyu wanted to cry but had no tears. In fact, it did not think that Lung Ruoxue was reasonable at all. Instead, it had deeply experienced how difficult it was to deal with Lung Ruoxue. It was just a small matter. They were tormented like this. Good luck. Shui Emmo looked at the fire yu and knew that it didn't realize its mistake. Therefore, he didn't bother to say anything else. With a wave of his hand, Huoyu and the others in the room were swept out of the room by the wind from his palm. Huoyu and the others who had been kicked out of the house fell to the empty ground in the courtyard. Each of them looked a little depressed, but they soon calmed down. This was the old ancestor's usual method, especially when the old ancestor was getting impatient. With heavy depression, Huoyu and the others returned to the meeting hall listlessly. Chapter 2763. Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? 3. After further discussion, they finally came up with a detailed plan, and decided to take down Lung Ruoxue and the others one by one. However, the difficulty now was that the people in the courtyard did not even step out of the house and refused to see them. If they forced their way in, they were afraid that they would offend the people in the courtyard even more. What should he do? After thinking for a long time, everyone decided to wait for the rabbit. Their actions had naturally been reported in detail to Lung Ruoxue and the others by the 2 reincarnation pills who were responsible for passing on the message. After knowing the other party's plan, Lung Ruoxue was very calm. On the other hand, Uncle Long and the others were rather depressed. The other party had angered Shui, so there was no point in guarding them, right? It was impossible for them to help an outsider. After all, they and Shui were in the same country. This time, they didn't want to leave their residence even more. The reincarnation pill seemed to have read their minds, so it became even more responsible for guarding the place. Mang Tian, the elder who was in charge of monitoring Lung Ruoxue and the others, looked at the 2 reincarnation pills that were swaying randomly not far away from him. He really wanted to rush forward and snatch them away. However, none of the elders dared to do so, because they knew that it was useless even if they obtained the 2 reincarnation pills. The other party did not even care about them. This fact also made the elders very worried. A week later, Shui Mo, who had been paying attention to them, felt a headache when he saw that the elders had made no progress. How could these guys be so useless? He couldn't even handle a little human girl? In the end, Shui Mo decided to do it himself. Of course, he wasn't trying to persuade Huoyu. He just wanted to see if Lung Ruoxue had disappeared as well. The facts had proven that Lung Ruoxue was still giving him face, and did not reject him at the door. After being released by the 2 reincarnation pills, Shui Mo couldn't help but stare at them for a long time. At this moment, he heard a slightly darker reincarnation elixir fire roar. "What are you looking at? Have you never seen a handsome guy before?" Shui Mo was speechless. It wasn't that she had never seen a handsome guy before, but she had never seen a pill that called itself a handsome guy. At this moment, he suddenly understood Huoyu and the others' love and hate for the 2 reincarnation pills. Then he collected his thoughts and calmly walked to the living room. The elder who was guarding outside the courtyard saw that the old grand madam had made a move, and his heart that had been in his throat finally relaxed. After Shui Mo entered the living room, he greeted Uncle Long and the others before looking at Lung Ruoxue and said with a smile, "Little girl, it's really hard to get in here. Senior Shui Mo, are you blaming me for rejecting you in the territory of the Qilin race?" Lung Ruoxue laughed as well, and replied with a fiery tone. Ugh. What a big temper. Hearing this, Shui Emo smiled bitterly in his heart helplessly. He still smiled and said, "Little girl, that's not what I meant. Huoyu provoked you so you don't have to vent your anger on me, right? I don't think I've offended you. That's why I didn't reject Senior Shui Mo." Lung Ruoxue replied with a faint smile. "But you've rejected many elders. They shouldn't have provoked you, right?" Shui Mo couldn't help but ask. "Yes, but they're obviously on Fire Yu's side. They're all trying to plead for him. So they can only be treated the same way as Fire Yu." Lung Ruoxue said matter-of-factly. "Then aren't you afraid that I'm here to plead for that idiot Huoyu by letting me in?" Shui Mo asked with a smile. "You won't. If you wanted to plead for it, you would have come a long time ago. You wouldn't have waited until now." Lung Ruoxue said. "Ha ha. You know me well. However, I still want you to give me some face. You can just fix the Fire Yu. But can you be magnanimous and let the other elders enter and leave freely? This way you can also observe their performance, right?" Shui Mo suggested. "You're right." Lung Ruoxue nodded, giving Shui Mo face. In fact, she didn't intend to make things difficult for the elders for too long. She just wanted them to show their attitude. Now that Shui Mo had said so, she had no reason to be unreasonable. Shui Mo was naturally happy to see Lung Ruoxue giving him so much face. He then dragged Lung Ruoxue to an empty room to study the array. Thanks when the elders who had been granted permission to not be stopped heard this news. It was as if they had been granted a general pardon. Their hearts were filled with excitement. Then the elders split up and went to find Uncle Long and the others who thought they had a good relationship with each other. Uncle Long naturally did not refuse them. But no matter what the elders said, Uncle Long and the others would not relent and plead for Huoyu. After that, when the elders heard that Lung Ruoxue had been dragged away by the old ancestor to study formations, they were even more depressed. "Old ancestor, why are you studying formations now? Don't tell me you've forgotten that curing the clan leader is our top priority right now?" It was obvious that they did not understand Shui Mo's thoughts, let alone Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue and Shui Mo, who had been hiding in their room, seemed to have forgotten everything. This research had taken up a month. Lung Ruoxue and Shui Mo only walked out of the room when Uncle Long and the others were getting impatient. Seeing the joy on Shui Mo's face, Uncle Long and the others knew that Shui Mo's suspicion must have been resolved. Otherwise, he wouldn't be smiling so happily. However, his juniors were obviously ready to jump up and down. After Shui Mo left, Lung Ruoxue asked Uncle Long curiously, "How's the Qilin clan's performance recently?" "They're so good. They'll listen to any of our requests, including the rude requests we make things difficult for them." Uncle Long couldn't help but nod in satisfaction when he thought of the treatment he received this month. Yes. Jiangning also nodded his head vigorously. Then he said with a serious expression, "However, they have also tried their best to hook up with our 2 reincarnation pills. The funny thing is, those 2 little guys simply ignored those people." Jiangning couldn't help but smile when he said this. One of the reincarnation pills was refined by Shui for the Qilin race. All the ingredients were provided by the Qilin race. The Qilin race even had to pay Shui for it. However, the reincarnation pill that they had refined with great difficulty had its own consciousness. It wasn't under the control of the Qilin race at all. They had definitely suffered a double loss. Was there anyone in this world more miserable than them? When he thought of this, he wanted to light a row of candles for the Qilin race. They were really too pitiful, weren't they? After Lung Ruoxue heard the report, she nodded in satisfaction. "It's about time you can let them go. When they come to find you again, you can just go with the flow." Everyone agreed. If they continued, it wouldn't just be to show their toughness, but to attract hatred. So, it was most important to stop while they were ahead. Just like that, the hard work of the elders of the Qilin clan for a month finally paid off. Of course, at least that was what they thought. When they found out that Uncle Long and the rest had pleaded for mercy on behalf of the clan leader after Lung Ruoxue had finished studying the array, the elders were so touched that they were about to cry. Then the elders accompanied Huoyu to apologize to Lung Ruoxue sincerely. Lung Ruoxue forgave Huoyu happily, but of course, a beating was inevitable. But from now on everyone could have fun together again. After everyone was happy, the great elder of the Qilin clan carefully suggested that Lung Ruoxue could bring the reincarnation pills to help the clan leader heal as soon as possible. After hearing this, Lung Ruoxue only glanced at the fire Yu indifferently, and did not say anything. Seeing this, the Qilin great elder immediately declared, "Don't worry, Miss Lung. We'll finish the preliminary work as soon as possible. I'll come to invite you personally. And then I'll be waiting for you, great elder." Lung Ruoxue nodded. Anyway, it was fine as long as she didn't use her body temperature to help. Otherwise, she would definitely remember that unpleasant experience and beat Huoyu up again. As if he could read Lung Ruoxue's mind, Huoyu could not help but shiver. He then quickly lowered his head. After obtaining Lung Ruoxue's promise, the Qilin elder tactfully dragged Huoyu along and left with the rest. If they continued to stay here, the consequences would be unimaginable if their acting clan head, who was always so silly, accidentally offended Lung Ruoxue. 3 days later, the great elder of the Qilin clan, who had prepared everything, came to invite Lung Ruoxue personally. After bringing Lung Ruoxue back to the ice room, the ice that Lung Ruoxue had seen previously had disappeared. All she could see was a huge ice bed. On the bed was an ice blue Qilin that was as large as a mountain. He looked a little familiar. However, the Qilin's original form looked similar, only their colors were different. Hence, Lung Ruoxue assumed that she had seen a Qilin with a different attribute and didn't think much about it. But this was the patriarch of the Qilin race? Lung Ruoxue looked at the great elder of the Qilin clan with a heart full of questions. The first elder of the Qilin clan nodded with a worried expression. "This is our clan leader. Tens of thousands of years ago, he was seriously injured and has been in a coma since." With that, the great elder of the Qilin clan bowed deeply towards Lung Ruoxue and said seriously, "Young Miss Lung, our Qilin clan will never forget the great kindness you have shown us. Please forgive me if I've been disrespectful to you before. Great elder, you're being too serious. Although the fire you seem to have changed into a different person after that. I'm afraid that I would have left the Qilin clan long ago if I had really been calculative with it. So please believe me, I also want to save your clan leader. However, you seem to have thanked the wrong person for curing your clan leader." Lung Ruoxue teased with a smile after hearing First Elder's words. "Ehe. I have to thank you for these 2 reincarnation pills, but Miss Lung, we have to thank you even more. If it wasn't for you, no one would be able to refine reincarnation pills now. Therefore, in the end, you are the greatest benefactor of our Qilin clan." The first elder of the Qilin clan glanced gratefully at the 2 purplish gold reincarnation pills that were revolving around Lung Ruoxue. Chapter 2764. Am not made of paper. 1. Other than being truly grateful to Lung Ruoxue for refining the reincarnation pill, the first elder of the Qilin clan also wanted to flatter her, who asked her to be an amazing alchemist in their hearts. While he was sucking up to her, he was also paying attention to the reaction of the 2 reincarnation pills. When he saw that the 2 of them did not protest, and were even leisurely circling around Lung Ruoxue, his heart was set. He started to use pleasant words as if they were free of charge. It was only when Lung Ruoxue could no longer bear to listen to these compliments and change the topic at the right time that the Qilin great elder gave up with an embarrassed look. After that, Lung Ruoxue greeted the 2 reincarnation pills. Then, as per the request of the reincarnation pills, she left the ice room with the first elder. At first, the Qilin great elder didn't want to leave. He was very curious about how the reincarnation pill would cure the clan leader. Unfortunately, the 2 reincarnation pills seemed to go on strike in the presence of outsiders. So the great elder had no choice but to obediently leave. As soon as they left, the 2 reincarnation pills began to work. If Lung Ruoxue was here, she would have noticed the changes in the reincarnation pill. The 2 reincarnation pills began to spin at high speed, like 2 streams of light dancing around the huge ice blue Qilin, and starlight fell on the ice blue Qilin. As soon as the starlight touched the Qilin's body, it immediately disappeared into it as if it had never been there. Soon, the room returned to its usual calm. Then the same situation repeated itself. 3 days later, when Lung Ruoxue returned to the ice room, she realized that First Elder and the other Qilin who had not returned with her were still dutifully guarding the ice room. The moment they saw her, they immediately surrounded her and looked at her with a face full of resentment. The Qilin Grand Elder couldn't help but ask on behalf of the other Qilin. "Young Lady Lung, it's already been 3 days. Why hasn't the clan leader recovered yet?" "Great Elder, I think the Qilin clan's patriarch's injuries are too serious, so he needs more time. You don't have to worry too much. Since the reincarnation pill refined by my master said that it can cure your patriarch, you should believe it. Otherwise, if it knows, it will be unhappy." Lung Ruoxue consoled. In fact, her words were already very subtle. If it were someone else, she might have said it directly. What was the rush? You guys don't have any other way anyway, so you can only try it as a last resort. But now that she was facing so many worried and conflicted Qilin race elders, she could only tactfully express her thoughts. However, the Qilin Great Elder also understood her meaning. Therefore, the First Elder quickly appeased the other Qilin elders, and everyone waited patiently. Who knew that this wait would last for a month? In this 1 month, the elders of the Qilin clan had wanted to ask Lung Ruoxue for help to go in and take a look countless times. However, they were all suppressed by the Great Elder. Since the Qilin clan leader's injuries had yet to be treated, Lung Ruoxue and the rest could not leave immediately. They could only stay in the Qilin clan. Thanks in the days that followed, Lung Ruoxue did not waste any time. It just so happened that First Elder and the rest were here, so she dragged them along to refine pills and weapons. But in this way, Uncle Long and Master Ning were even more bored. Even though the two of them were not willing to stay here for long and Shuer had told them to return first and return after the Qilin clan leader had recovered, they would not let Shuer and the other alchemists and weapon refiners stay in the Tiger's Denver. If the Qilin clan leader's injuries were not fully recovered, and the Qilin clan became angry out of embarrassment and used Shuer and the others as punching bags, it would be bad. Therefore, the two of them had a private discussion. "I can't leave now." But if they didn't leave, the two of them would be very bored. In addition, the Qilin elders who they had a good relationship with were all guarding the Qilin tribe leader. The two of them had nothing to do and could only sit in the living room and stare at each other. It's so boring." In the living room, Uncle Long had sighed countless times. "Uncle Long, I'm bored too, so can you stop saying these words all the time? You're making me very annoyed." Master Ning said helplessly. Shuer was temporarily in seclusion to refine pills and weapons, but those cute little beasts were also clamoring to go into seclusion, making him even more bored. Now, other than Uncle Long, this rotten old man, he couldn't even find anyone to talk to. "You think I'm not annoyed? Come, let's have a fight. I haven't fought in a long time, my hands are itching," Uncle Long suggested. Then he stood up and dragged Master Ning to find a place to fight. Master Ning didn't refuse, and the two walked out together. However, after walking around the territory of the Qilin clan several times, they didn't find a suitable place to fight. They didn't dare to start a fight around the territory of the Qilin clan. Otherwise, the Qilin clan might think that they were provoking them. However, the two's actions were like headless flies, which also attracted the curious gazes of many Qilin guards. One of the Qilins asked out of curiosity. When he learned that the two of them wanted to fight, his eyes suddenly lit up. "You want to fight? I'll accompany you." The Kirin's eyes glowed green, as if it had found a new toy. Looking at it, and comparing the height difference between the two sides, Uncle Long was silent. This Qilin guard was currently in its original form. It was much taller than them, and its leg was as thick as their waists. He wanted to fight with them? More importantly, although the Qilin was only a guard, its strength was also at the reverent god level. In its original form, the Qilin was absolutely invincible, so neither of them wanted to accept its challenge. However, this Qilin race guard was obviously a stubborn and one-track-minded fellow. He only knew that the two people in front of him wanted to fight, but he didn't even think about whether they wanted to fight him or not. Therefore, it enthusiastically grabbed Uncle Long and Master Ning with its two huge claws and threw them on its back, then disappeared at the gate of the Qilin clan as fast as lightning. In addition, it was a wind attribute Qilin, so its speed was extremely fast. By the time Uncle Long and Master Ning realized that they had been kidnapped, they had already been taken to a relatively strange place. Where was this place? Barren Mountain? The wilderness? Uncle Long and Master Ning looked at each other in silence, wondering why the Qilin had brought them to this place where even birds didn't want to poop. At this moment, they were surrounded by a series of small mountains. Those small mountains were only a little higher than the Qilin in front of them. Not a single blade of grass grew on the mountains, and it was very desolate. The place they were standing on was relatively flat, so much so that the two of them deeply wondered what kind of place they were. As if he had seen through their doubts, a certain Kirin, who was full of interest, explained to the two of them excitedly, "This place is not bad, right? This is a place where we like-minded Qilin sparring. It's just that they've been too busy recently, so we haven't sparred for a long time. It's good that you have this idea today, so I'll play with you." Chapter 2765. Am not made of paper, too. But we don't want to play with you. Uncle Long and Master Ning looked troubled. They could tell that this was a Qilin that was crazy for fighting, and it was fast, so they knew that they wouldn't be able to gain any advantage if they fought it. More importantly, Uncle Long and Master Ning didn't want to have a serious fight. They were just bored. But now with this Qilin, they had to be serious. AI. He was so conflicted. Just do your best. They were also afraid that this Qilin would pester them endlessly. If they didn't use their full strength and lost, they would lose face again. What should he do now? Uncle Long and Master Ning suddenly felt like they were riding a tiger and couldn't stop. However, the two of them were too embarrassed to refuse the Kirin's extremely hot eyes. Otherwise, this Kirin who was too excited would probably get angry. Without any other choice, the two of them shamelessly asked Lung Ruoxue for help. Lung Ruoxue, who was refining pills with Shinhua and the rest, was shocked when she received the call for help from Uncle Long and Master Ning. When she heard the two of them calling for help, Lung Ruoxue had no patience to listen to anything else, and went to find Feng Yi in a hurry. At this moment, Feng Yi was being recruited by Bing Yin. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue had come to look for him, the listless him immediately became excited as if he had been injected with chicken blood. "You bastard." Recently, the elders had all been guarding the clan leader. There were many things in the clan that no one had handled. Bing Yin, that shameless thing, treated him like a silly boy and ordered him around. He even used the clan to threaten him, causing him to be able to work hard without complaint. As for this pitiful child, he had long been hoping that someone would save him from his misery. Hence, when he saw Lung Ruoxue now, he felt closer to her than he would to his family. Lung Ruoxue didn't say anything else. She pulled Feng Yi aside and said, "Hurry up and follow me." He directly dragged Feng Yi away in front of Bing Yin. Bing Yin saw this and wanted to stop them, but the two of them had disappeared. Feng Yi's infuriating words rang in her ears. "I'll go with you even if we have to go to the ends of the earth." Ice's mouth twitched as she tried her best to forget this sentence, and did what she should do. Even though Lung Ruoxue was shocked by his words, she did not have the time to argue with Feng Yi. She dragged him to the meeting place with First Elder and the rest and ordered Feng Yi to bring them to Uncle Long and Godfather. Where? Feng Yi was stunned. "I don't know." Lung Ruoxue blinked her eyes innocently and did not ask. Feng Yi was dumbfounded. First Elder and the rest were also dumbfounded. Shui-er's words were too innocent and too cute. "I can't stand it. How could she be so cute?" After recovering from their shock, First Elder and the rest looked at Lung Ruoxue with sparkling eyes. Even Feng Yi felt that Lung Ruoxue's little appearance was very cute. Feng Yi, who was overflowing with love, consoled Lung Ruoxue with a look of sympathy and worry. "It doesn't matter if you don't know. You can ask me now. As long as you can tell me the general situation, I can find all the places within 100 miles of the Qilin clan. I'll ask now." Lung Ruoxue laughed awkwardly, then sent a voice transmission to Uncle Long and her godfather. In reality, after the two of them had called for Shui-er to save them, they were cut off by the anxious Lung Ruoxue. At that time, the two of them were extremely depressed. Sop. Swear doesn't care about them anymore. This fact was too hurtful. Just as the two of them were about to cry silently in their hearts, Shue'er's voice transmission came. This time, it was to ask for their address. Instantly, the two of them were revived on the spot with full health. They knew it. How could Shuer not care about them? Thanks, but where was this place? They did not know either. They looked at each other hesitantly and turned around to try to get the guards to talk, but a certain Qilin couldn't give them a reason for this place. He only said that this was a place where many Qilin often came to play. A place that you often come to play? No name? When the two of them told Lung Ruoxue their answer, Lung Ruoxue was conflicted. Take us to the place you hang out often, she said to Feng Sun after that. Feng Sun was silent for a moment, then said cautiously, Are you sure you want to go? Of course, hurry up. Saving people is like putting out a fire. If Uncle Long and Godfather lose a single hair, I won't let you off. Lung Ruoxue threatened. Did she look like she was joking? What does this have to do with me? Feng Yi said with an aggrieved expression. You're dilly-dallying. You're delaying my time to save them. Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. These words made Feng Yi deeply depressed. After that, he obediently returned to his original form and greeted Lung Ruoxue and the rest. Quickly sit on it. Don't waste any more time. He was really scared of this unreasonable woman. Ooh, bad guy. They were all a bunch of bad guys. You only know how to bully the honest Qilin. Feng Yi truly felt that his current status was very low. It seemed that all of this had only started when he met Lung Ruoxue, right? I've never ridden a Qilin before. At this time, First Elder said with a smile. These words made Feng Yi even more depressed. What kind of people were these? If not for Lung Ruoxue's threat, would he have allowed these humans to sit on his back? He glanced at Lung Ruoxue with hidden bitterness. Feng Yi's face was red as he said, I did it all for you. Lung Ruoxue ignored Feng Yi's pitiful expression and gave him a kick in the butt, indicating for him to leave quickly. Feng Yi resigned himself to his fate and ran out. Soon they arrived at their destination. This is the place. Feng Yi said honestly, a hint of shyness on his face. When Lung Ruoxue saw the place, she immediately jumped down from Feng Yi's back. She looked up at her surroundings and was immediately speechless. What was this place? What was the situation with the pairs of Qilins hugging each other? Is this the place you guys often play? Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly. Her instinct told her that the place Uncle Long mentioned was definitely not the same place that Feng Yi had brought them to. Yup. Ever since we came of age, we've been coming here often for dates. Feng Yi said, a little embarrassed. He even lowered his head shyly. A place to date the opposite sex. Lung Ruoxue and the rest were confused. Other than this place, are there any other places you go often? Lung Ruoxue could not help but ask. Uncle Long and Godfather would never come here. She dared to guarantee it. No more. Feng Yi said honestly. Then he couldn't help but ask, Shuer, what happened? Tell me, I'll help you analyze it. You know how to analyze. Lung Ruoxue asked in surprise. It was not that she looked down on Feng Yi, but the impression he gave her had always been a little stupid. Could he really analyze anything? Chapter 2766. Am not made of paper 3. Of course I can. Am one of the most intelligent Qilins in the Qilin clan. Feng Yi said proudly. After hearing this, Lung Ruoxue and the others fell silent once more. However, Lung Ruoxue still gave him face and said, Uncle Long and Godfather were calling for help. I'm afraid something might have happened to them. What could have happened to them in the Qilin race? Could it be that some female Qilin has taken a fancy to them? When Feng Yi heard Lung Ruoxue's words, he gave an ambiguous smile. When Lung Ruoxue heard this, she couldn't help but give it another vicious kick and said angrily, Do you think Uncle Long and Godfather are like you, unable to move when they see a female Qilin? Men and male beasts were the same. It's normal for the opposite sex to attract each other. Why wouldn't Shuer be willing to admit it? Feng Yi winked at Lung Ruoxue, making her want to kick him again. But this time Feng Yi learned his lesson. After saying this, it immediately jumped to a safe distance and said, What I said is not impossible. Swear, you should consider it carefully. Consider my ass. Quickly take us to other places. Lung Ruoxue ordered. All right then. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue was unwilling to face the truth, Feng Yi was also very impatient. After that, he accepted his fate and brought Lung Ruoxue and the rest around to search. After searching for a long time, Feng Yi finally found Uncle Long and Master Ning's aura in a mountain stream. So he directly landed. So you guys are here. I've been looking for you. As soon as they landed, Feng Yi started to complain. Crazy. What are you doing here? The Qilin guard said unhappily when he saw Feng Yi. You bastard. You're the crazy one. Your whole family is crazy. Hearing this, Feng Yi was instantly enraged. Hee. My family seems to include you. A certain Kirin said in a calm manner. Feng Sun was silent. Lung Ruoxue and the rest were speechless as well. This was the first time they had seen an idiot scolding themselves as well. However, none of them had expected that these two Qilins were actually a family. While Feng Yi and the other party were bickering, Lung Ruoxue took the opportunity to observe Uncle Long and Godfather carefully. Seeing that they were fine, she was instantly relieved. Then, she pulled the two of them and asked them about the whole incident in a low voice. When she found out that the two of them had called for help in a moment of desperation because the Qilin guard wanted to fight them, Lung Ruoxue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The Great Elder even gave them a look of disdain. How embarrassing. How big of a matter was it to cause them trouble? We don't want to fight it. Uncle Long smiled awkwardly. Then you called me here because you want me to fight it? Lung Ruoxue blinked her eyes and asked in a speechless manner. No, this guy is a battle maniac. We were entangled by it and had no choice but to ask you for help. Hee. Swear, you must have a way, right? Master Ning looked at Lung Ruoxue with a fawning expression. What if I say that I have no other choice? Lung Ruoxue said in all seriousness. Swear, you can't just leave me in the lurch. Master Ning said with a sad face. Lung Ruoxue looked at her godfather's expression and knew that he was pretending to be pitiful. However, she did not expose him. Instead, she walked over to the green Qilin that looked exactly like Feng Yi and sized it up. Originally, the green Qilin had been glaring at Feng Yi, who knew that it would suddenly feel a very hot gaze, which made its little heart tremble. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen it before? The green Qilin could not take it anymore. It was getting goosebumps from Lung Ruoxue's stare. Bad guy. Why are you targeting it? One had to know that there was a saying that was circulating throughout the Qilin clan. That was to never be targeted by Lung Ruoxue. Otherwise, it might end up like Feng Yi. It did not intend to lose its precious freedom like Feng Yi. Indeed, I've never seen him before. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue nodded her head seriously and extended her dainty jade-like hand to grab the other party's large claw as a gesture. Fenghua. The Azure Kirin replied in a daze. Uncle Long and Master Ning finally knew the name of the Qilin. Feng Yi smiled and added, He's my family's battle-loving idiot Qilin, my uncle's younger brother. Now he somewhat understood why this idiot had kidnapped Uncle Long and Master Ning. Lung Ruoxue was surprised to hear that Feng Yi had called another Qilin an idiot. I'm clearly an idiot. Now he was still calling other Qilins like this. She really didn't know how Feng Yi's brain worked. Magical, too magical. At this moment, Fenghua also protested. Damn it. You're the younger brother, I'm the older brother, okay? Thanks. After hearing this, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but admit that Feng Yi's words were indeed a little stupid. He didn't mind that Feng Yi called him an idiot, but he was concerned that he wasn't his brother? What kind of logic was that? After a moment of silence, Lung Ruoxue turned to Fenghua and said, Peerless beauty, I heard that you like to fight. How about we have a competition? I do like to fight, but I never fight with women. Besides, my name is Fenghua. Please don't give me random names. Fenghua said with a serious face. Hearing this, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but laugh to herself. She then said cautiously, Please don't treat me like a woman. Furthermore, the peerless and magnificent are already connected, so this name is very suitable for you. Oh really? Alright. You can call me Peerless Beauty, But I still can't help but treat you as a woman, and you're still so young. Feng Hua said gloomily. She gestured with her claws again, and it was Lung Ruoxia's turn to be depressed. It wasn't difficult for her to admit that she wasn't as big as one of the other party's legs. It was true. So, I won't compete with you. If you want to compete, you should compete with the two of them. Seeing that Lung Ruoxia didn't deny it, Feng Hua told her the truth and pointed at Uncle Long and Master Ning. Peerless beauty, are you sure you don't want to give me face? Lung Ruoxia asked again. Women are to be pampered, not beaten. So, I won't fight you. Feng Hua stretched out her huge paw and touched Lung Ruoxia's head. Was she being touched as a pet by a beastie? Lung Ruoxia was conflicted and depressed. This was her specialty. Why did a Qilin get there first? Sob. Lung Ruoxia burst into tears. Moreover, a somewhat silly Qilin actually knew that women were meant to be pampered. This was really too incredible. Lung Ruoxia remained silent for a long time. Seeing this, Feng Hua was worried and asked carefully, "What's wrong? Did I hurt you?" It was referring to the moment when he touched Lung Ruoxia's head. "I'm not made of paper." Lung Ruoxia's face was covered in tears. As expected, Feng Ju's family was all abnormal. Sob. She didn't want to stay here anymore. She wanted to go home. At that moment, no words could describe Lung Ruoxia's depression. At the same time, a deafening roar broke through the air, shocking Feng Yi and Feng Hua. Something big has happened. Feng Yi and Feng Hua said at the same time. The voice came too quickly, so they couldn't figure out what was going on. But they were sure that it was not an invasion. However, since such a swift signal had been transmitted out, then no matter what the Qilins were doing, they would definitely rush back to their clan. Therefore, without any delay, Feng Yi and Feng Hua reached out their claws and scooped Lung Ruoxia and the rest up onto their backs, then quickly returned to their clans. When they returned to the territory, Lung Ruoxia was surprised to find that all the Qilins were present. It seemed like something big had happened, so much so that Feng Hua had forgotten to continue fighting with Uncle Long and Godfather. As soon as Lung Ruoxia jumped down from Feng Yi's back, she was immediately surrounded by a group of female Qilin. Then Lung Ruoxia was kidnapped by the female Qilin. Of course, only Lung Ruoxia felt that she had been kidnapped. Those female Qilin thought that they were very gentle, and considering the weak bodies of humans, their actions were much gentler. Lung Ruoxia, who felt like she had been kidnapped, was brought to a gorgeous room by a group of female Qilin. The female Qilin busied themselves with Lung Ruoxia's face and body. The female Qilin, who was preparing to put on makeup for her, stretched her demonic claws towards Lung Ruoxia first. The female Qilin, who was beating up a pile of fine clothes, waited by the side. When Lung Ruoxia saw this, she hurriedly called for a stop. "Wait. What are you guys doing?" Lung Ruoxia said fearfully. Could the colorful liquid in the female Qilin's hands be poison? "Calm down, Miss Lung. We have been ordered to dress you up." A female Qilin said with a kind smile. "Orders? Whose orders?" Lung Ruoxia was puzzled. What was the Qilin clan up to? Hehe. Of course it's the Grand Elder's order. The female Qilin said. Oh, Lung Ruoxia nodded her head to show that she understood. However, she then pointed at the colorful paint in front of her and asked in shock. "Are you guys using these colors to dress me up?" That. Could she ask him to come? Hehe. These aren't ordinary dyes. They're made from a secret recipe that our Qilin clan has been keeping for many years. Don't worry, we guarantee that we'll dress you up beautifully. The female Qilin promised. However, Lung Ruoxia really didn't dare to believe her words. This was because humans and beasts had different aesthetic standards. The beautiful that they spoke of might be like a ghost to her. Furthermore, she didn't know what the Qilin clan was trying to do. Did he have to play so big? Is there anything important for your Qilin clan? After some thought, Lung Ruoxia carefully asked. Hehe, of course there is. The female Qilin said proudly. What's the important thing? Can you tell me? Lung Ruoxia asked again. Of course not, because we don't know either. The female Qilin replied with a righteous look. Chapter 2767. May I know the goddess name? 1. You don't know, but you still say it so righteously? Lung Ruoxua looked at the proud look on the female Qilin's face, and couldn't help but want to ridicule her. However, she felt that her words would be in vain. This female Qilin probably wouldn't take it seriously at all. Looking at her face, which seemed to be proud of the Qilin clan's great event, she felt that if she were to question it, she might be attacked by all these female Qilin. After some thought, she tactfully shut her mouth. In any case, these female Qilin definitely had no ill intentions towards her. However, how could she not paint her face with these colors? Just as she was about to discuss with the female Qilin, another female Qilin ran in. When she saw that Lung Ruoxua had not dressed up, she immediately said anxiously, "Why is your work efficiency so low? You're still not done." After saying that, the female Qilin did not allow any further explanation, and quickly used her claws to wipe Lung Ruoxia's face. By the time Lung Ruoxua was about to reject, she had already completed all her actions very quickly, and even nodded in satisfaction. "All right. Not bad. This human can be considered a beauty when dressed up." Lung Ruoxua was silent. So in the eyes of these female Qilin, she had always been an ugly monster? No wonder these female Qilin didn't take her seriously. Following that, the female Qilin removed her outer clothing, and gave Lung Ruoxua the luxurious clothes that they had prepared. At this moment, Lung Ruoxua was already numbly allowing the female Qilin to touch her. Fortunately, this female Qilin's movements were very swift. She did not let Lung Ruoxua endure for too long before she announced that she had already dressed up. Lung Ruoxua heaved a huge sigh of relief. Good, she was finally free. Then, she helplessly allowed these female Qilin to criticize her. "Miss Lung, you're so beautiful. She's comparable to the beauties of our Qilin clan." Such praises could be heard without end, but Lung Ruoxua miraculously did not want to hear them at all. In fact, she did not even have the courage to look at her own appearance at this moment. Sob. Should she be happy? Should she thank them for dressing her up? Lung Ruoxua really did not know. After that, she was escorted out of the room by the female Qilin. When she left the room and saw the vexed faces of Uncle Long and the rest, Lung Ruoxua suddenly felt better. Previously, she blamed Uncle Long and Godfather for not saving her, but now she did not blame them at all. It was true. Seeing the constipated expressions on Uncle Long, Godfather, and the others' faces, as well as the colorful paint on their faces and the brilliant golden clothes they were wearing, Lung Ruoxua knew that they had been treated the same way. For a moment, the few people who were in the same boat wanted to cry. One had to know that among them, other than Uncle Long, the rest were all genuine humans. Their taste in beauty was naturally different from the beasts of the Qilin clan. However, they understood the principle of when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Hence, they could only silently endure all this. As a matter of fact, although Uncle Long was a beast, he had spent more time with humans, so his aesthetic was more like that of humans. Therefore, it could be said that he had no common language with these Qilin in terms of aesthetic. But what else could he say now? "Schwerer, can we discuss something?" Seeing Lung Ruoxua come out, Uncle Long and the rest immediately went forward and whispered, "Thanks what?" Lung Ruoxia's face was filled with question marks. "Let's not tell anyone about this, okay?" Uncle Long and the others looked at each other, and said in tacit understanding. The thing they were talking about was naturally his current appearance. I definitely won tea. I'll get mad at whoever you say it." Lung Ruoxua immediately expressed her stand when she heard this. Looking at Uncle Long and the others' conflicted expressions, she knew that she wasn't in a good state. As expected, the moment she finished speaking, Lung Ruoxua received looks of sympathy from Uncle Long and the others. Her godfather even sighed and patted her on the shoulder. His eyes seemed to be saying the words "my condolences." Uncle Long and the others followed suit. Lung Ruoxua was so depressed that she was on the verge of tears. "You can't do this. You're all dressed up." Suddenly, a surprised voice came from behind them. Everyone turned around and saw Feng Yi, who was also dressed up, behind them. He seemed to be surprised. Especially when he saw Lung Ruoxua, Feng Yi rushed in front of her. He trembled and sobbed. Ji Goddess, hello, my name is Feng Yi. I'm a Qilin with the wind attribute. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to meet you. May I know the goddess' name? Hearing this, Lung Ruoxia's face turned black. Uncle Long and the rest could not bear to look at her. They all mourned for Feng Yi's blindness in their hearts. This guy asked for it. He had just touched a sore spot. As expected, just as Uncle Long and the others thought of this, Lung Ruoxia kicked Feng Yi's lower abdomen. Feng Yi, who was not prepared for this, fell flat on his back. After he fell, Feng Yi was not ashamed but proud. He laughed and said, "Goddess, is this the so-called beating is affection, scolding is love? It seems that the goddess has a good impression of me. Let's date." Dating? Date my ass. After Lung Ruoxia finished her roar, she continued to punch and kick Feng Yi, who had yet to get up. At this moment, many Qilins had gathered around. However, no one stepped forward to stop the fight. In the minds of the Qilins, a man should not fight back when he is scolded or hit. That is why they treated Feng Yi's beating as a joke. Naturally, everyone just watched. As for Uncle Long and the others, they couldn't stop Shuai at all. In their hearts, Feng Yi was the classic example of someone who would not die if he didn't seek death. Lung Ruoxia was tired from the beating and left with a cold face. As for Feng Yi, he was still in a daze with a happy expression. It wasn't until Uncle Long couldn't stand it anymore and kicked the dazed Feng Yi out of his daze that he finally woke up. At this moment, Feng Yi's face, which was originally covered in colors, immediately swelled up. He looked like a pig that had been painted. His clothes were also covered in dust, and a few of them were torn. It was a terrible sight. However, Feng Yi clearly did not realize how serious the situation on his face and body was. Instead, he pulled on Uncle Long's sleeve and asked persistently, "Uncle Long, who was that goddess? Do you know her?" "You don't know him." Uncle Long was shocked. This old man recognized him, but he didn't recognize Shuai. There was something wrong with his eyes. How could I possibly know the goddess? If I knew him, I would have chased after him long ago. Feng Yi said matter-of-factly, I advise you not to have any ideas about her, otherwise, you'll die a miserable death." Uncle Long reminded Feng Sun kindly, silently praying for him. Chapter 2768. May I know the goddess name? 2. Why? I was loyal to her at first sight. How can we just let it go like this? Feng Sun said stubbornly. Upon hearing this, Uncle Long couldn't help but think to himself, this isn't the first time you've met. Forget it. You two are really not suitable for each other. After some thought, Uncle Long felt that it was better not to break Feng Yi's fantasy of a goddess. Otherwise, he didn't know if this guy could take the blow. I think we're very suitable for each other. Feng Yi didn't want to give up. But after thinking about it, he glared at Uncle Long warily and said, "Uncle Long, tell me the truth. Are you also moved by my goddess? That's why you didn't let me chase after you?" Uncle Long didn't know what to say. Sigh. Just let this fantasy-brained guy discover it himself. He was too lazy to talk. However, Uncle Long's silence made Feng Yi feel that Uncle Long had tacitly agreed. Hence, he immediately raised Uncle Long's status to the level of a love rival. He even glared at Uncle Long covetously and shouted fiercely, "Uncle Long, I want to challenge you. Whoever loses will give up on pursuing the goddess." Idiot. After staring at Feng Yi for a long time, Uncle Long finally spat out these two words. Then he learned from Lung Ruoxia and left with a cold face. "Come back here. Coward. Don't you go." Seeing Uncle Long ignore him and walk away, the anger in Feng Yi's heart instantly surged several steps. If Master Ning hadn't stopped him in time, he would have rushed over to stop Uncle Long and fought a big battle. "Master Ning, let me go. Why are you holding me?" "Oh, I know you guys are in a group, so you're ganging up to bully me, right?" Since Uncle Long didn't stop him, Feng Yi, who was already furious, turned his gun around and fired at Master Ning. "I'm doing this for your own good." Master Ning said calmly and left. "AI. Good luck." Then the first elder and the others patted Feng Yi's shoulder to comfort him, and followed Master Ning silently. Feng Yi, who was left behind, was completely depressed. You bastard! Why were those people so confused? What did they mean by that? Feng Yi racked his brains but still couldn't figure it out. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue, who had returned to her residence, had just sat down in the garden when she saw that Uncle Long and the rest had all returned. Uncle Long's expression was especially ugly. On the contrary, Godfather and the others seemed to be extremely enduring something, and their faces were red. Uncle Long, why are you back? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. If I don't come back, I'll die of anger. Long Shuhua roared. There shouldn't be anyone in the Qilin clan that would anger you, right? Lung Ruoxue could not help but ask. Why not? Feng Yi knows how to do it. Master Ning added, holding back his laughter. Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Did that idiot Feng Yi have such guts? She could not believe it. At this moment, the first elder was still the kind-hearted one. He described the incident to Lung Ruoxue. After Lung Ruoxue heard it, she was speechless and did not know what to say. Damn it! If this wasn't the Qilin clan, I would have definitely beaten him up. Uncle Long said angrily after the first elder finished speaking. I've already beaten him up. Lung Ruoxue reminded him with a faint smile. Thanks, that doesn't count. The way you beat them up might make the Qilin clan think that you're flirting with each other. Uncle Long cruelly stated the truth. After all, as a beast, he was very clear about the thoughts of some male beasts. Being beaten up by a woman was nothing in the hearts of male beasts. But Lung Ruoxue did not know that. Therefore, when she heard Uncle Long's words, her face turned even uglier. If what Uncle Long said was true, then wouldn't she have beaten him up for nothing? Lung Ruoxue was so depressed that it was as if she had eaten gold thread. Why did you guys come back? I've been looking for you guys everywhere. Suddenly, Bing Yun's voice sounded in their ears. Everyone turned their heads and looked at Bing Yun. No one spoke. On the other hand, Lung Ruoxue almost took her anger out on him out of reflex. Fortunately, she managed to hold it in. Seeing that everyone's expressions were a little strange, Bing Yun even asked with a baffled look. What's wrong with you guys? Nothing. Is there something you need? Master Ning, who was still calm, asked as a representative. Of course I'm here to invite you. Bing Yun said in a great mood. Tell me what is it? Otherwise, we won't go. Lung Ruoxue didn't want to be treated like drawing paper by the Qilin clan and be scribbled on at will, so she had to clarify things first. Bing Yun had not expected Lung Ruoxue to say such a thing. For a moment he was completely stunned. Then he could not help but look at Uncle Long and the others. He thought to himself, did something happen that I don't know about? Thinking for a moment, Bing Yun said carefully, Miss Lung, I've been informed that this matter cannot be said. Oh really? Then we won't go. Lung Ruoxue's attitude was a little forceful. She admitted that she was a little angry. First, it was those Qilin who wanted to dress up her female Qilin. Then it was that idiot Feng Yi. She had had enough really. What was it that had to be so mysterious? Moreover, this seemed to be an internal matter of the Qilin clan. Since that was the case, it shouldn't matter if they didn't attend. Miss Lung, you're making things difficult for me. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue had already made up her mind, Bing Yun was so depressed and conflicted that he wanted to bang his head against a wall. Why couldn't this little girl be like a normal human, and be filled with intense curiosity about the unknown? He had lived for so long, but he had never seen such a difficult human. Especially since they were still in the territory of the Qilin clan. Could it be that this little girl couldn't have the awareness that a guest should follow the host? Bing Yun silently ridiculed. Lung Ruoxue wasn't sure of Bing Yun's thoughts either. Otherwise, she would have told him that curiosity killed the cat, and that she would never do anything out of her control. Otherwise, she would have been killed by her so-called curiosity. When Bing Yun saw that he was unable to convince Lung Ruoxue, he turned his pleading gaze towards Uncle Long and the others. In his heart, Uncle Long and the others should be easier to talk to. After all, they were all men, so it should be easier for him to talk to them. However, he was wrong this time. This was related to Lung Ruoxue. No matter if it was right or wrong, Uncle Long and the others were determined to protect Shui Er's interests. Hence, his request for help would not receive any help at all. Seeing Uncle Long and the others ignore his request for help, and even turn their heads away as if they didn't see him, Bingyan was a bit more conflicted. Left with no choice, he could only report this to the great elder. Not long after, the first elder and Huayu rushed over. Before he could speak, Lung Ruoxue spoke first. Shouldn't you be guarding your Qilin clan's patriarch at this time? How come you have the time to come and find me personally? Upon seeing the two of them, Lung Ruoxue seemed to have guessed something. However, she still needed to verify it. Chapter 2769. May I know the goddess name? Free. That's right. However, there's something more important for the Qilin clan right now. Thus, we have no choice but to leave for the time being and settle this matter first. The first elder wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said guiltily, this girl was indeed not the usual kind of trouble. First elder really wanted to kneel down in front of her. Of course, the prerequisite was that Lung Ruoxue would obediently follow the arrangements if she knelt down. It seems like the Qilin clan chief is nothing in your hearts. You can even temporarily put aside your worries about the clan chief while he's healing, and go do something more important than him. I really feel bad for your clan leader. Lung Ruoxue sighed. Her words made the great elder of the Qilin clan and Huayu break out in cold sweat. Wu, could they not be wronged like this? In their hearts, the clan leader was the most important, but now, the two Qilins were extremely depressed after being maligned by Lung Ruoxue. However, they could not speak the truth now. Hence, they could only silently swallow the dirty water that Lung Ruoxue had forcefully poured on them. This fact made them feel even more aggrieved, but what could they say? Uncle Long and the others laughed to themselves when they saw the two Qilins so depressed that they wanted to bang their heads against the wall to express their feelings. These two guys wanted to have a war of words with Shui, but they would lose without a doubt. They even felt some sympathy for the first elder of the Qilin clan and Huayu. Of course, they didn't want to speak up for the other party. Instead, they enjoyed watching the show. In contrast to their excitement, the Qilin elder and Huayu were silent for a long time. They did not know how to refute. The two Qilin looked at each other, and then looked up at Lung Ruoxue. They looked at each other for a long time. Lung Ruoxue was still calm, but great elder Qilin and Fire you couldn't calm down at all. The time was almost up, but they still hadn't dealt with Lung Ruoxue. Sob. What should they do? The two pitiful Qilins wanted to cry, but had no tears. They even tried to move Lung Ruoxue by acting pitiful, but Lung Ruoxue remained unmoved. What a cruel and cold-blooded girl. No wonder his surname was Lung. Huayu secretly sighed, but in his heart he was full of tears, because he suddenly realized that in the few times he had come into contact with Lung Ruoxue, other than the first time when they had schemed against her and used her to escape from old Grand Madam, he had never won against her in the subsequent interactions. He was so pitiful. Huayu finally discovered this fact, and the way he looked at Lung Ruoxue became more and more resentful. Unfortunately, no matter how much he lamented, Lung Ruoxue ignored him. Just like that, the two sides were in a stalemate. As time passed by, the Qilin Grand Elder was burning with anxiety. He tried to persuade Lung Ruoxue. Miss Lung, do you think you can come with us to deal with official business first? We'll definitely explain it to you later. We cannot. Who knows what your business is? What if they wanted to kill him to silence him? Who will I cry to then? Lung Ruoxue deliberately put on a stern face. These words choked the Qilin First Elder, causing him to almost pass out. I'm innocent. This was a great injustice. How could they possibly kill him to silence him? How could their Qilin race be such cruel and unscrupulous beasts? But when he saw Lung Ruoxue's disbelieving expression, he really didn't know what to say. Uncle Long and the others were laughing in their hearts. Hee. Shui was really too evil. Was he trying to force the Qilin Great Elder to speak the truth? However, this old man seemed to be very determined. He would not be so easy to pry open. With this thought in mind, Uncle Long and the others decided to add oil to the fire. Then, Uncle Long seriously agreed. Shui's concerns are not without reason. It seems that we really have to be careful. After all, We have limited manpower. If the Qilin race really wants to get rid of us, I'm afraid we can't do anything. After he finished speaking, he immediately looked at the Qilin Great Elder and the Fire Guangdong tribe leader vigilantly. His serious face seemed to be saying, "Come at me if you want to fight. I'm not afraid of you guys. Can you not say that? They weren't that kind of beastie. Let me remind you, none of us are combat-type talents, so when we fight, you'd better not attack us. It's everyone's responsibility to protect special talents," the first elder said after seeing the strength of his own side. "Yes. However, please allow us to attack you," Jiang Ning added with an evil smile. "Is this the rhythm of a fight? They didn't seem to have done anything." The first elder of the Qilin family and Huoyu were on the verge of a mental breakdown after hearing Uncle Long's words. "Can't we just have fun together? When is the war?" Seeing that the other two Qilins had been provoked quite badly, Master Ning lightly added, "Thanks, we don't intend to fight with you." After a long time, after taking a few deep breaths, Huoyu replied in a low voice. They were clearly here to invite people, but in the end, why did it become a war? How did this happen? How did this happen? The two Qilins completely broke down. There was no way to continue this conversation. If they continued, the other party might attack directly and ruin their Qilin clan's grand event. "Little girl, don't make things difficult for them. I was the one who told them to keep it a secret." At this moment, a helpless voice rang in Lung Ruoxia's and the other's ears. Following the voice, two figures appeared. One of them was Shui Mo, and the other was a man. He stood helplessly beside Shui Mo and sighed while looking at them. This man was handsome and powerful. He was even a head taller than Shui Mo, who was not short to begin with. He looked intimidating in blue. An intimidating aura surrounded him. With just one look, Lung Ruoxia had already guessed the man's identity. "You are the Qilin clan chief?" Lung Ruoxia said with certainty. Uncle Long and the others were no stranger to the man's appearance. After all, in the firmament, any old man who had lived for a long time would recognize this famous clan leader of the Qilin clan. Hence, they were more respectful to this man than Lung Ruoxia was. "Haha. Big brother, I told you, this little girl would definitely guess your identity." Hearing this, Shui Mo laughed, gloating. The Qilin clan leader rolled his eyes at Shui Mo before turning to Lung Ruoxia. "Little girl, you know I'm the Qilin clan leader and you still dare to be so presumptuous? Aren't you afraid that it'll teach you a lesson in my anger?" "I'm not afraid. I've long heard that the Qilin clan leader is a great hero. I don't think a hero would be ungrateful, right?" Lung Ruoxia replied calmly. "I heard that it was the reincarnation pill that saved me." The Qilin clan leader said on purpose. "Yes, but I was the one who concocted the reincarnation pill." Lung Ruoxia didn't mind the Qilin clan leader's words at all. Instead, she continued to reply naturally. Hearing this, the Qilin clan leader fell silent and couldn't help but think to himself, "This girl is indeed as arrogant as Shui Mo said. He really didn't know who she was afraid of." Alright. He had lost. In reality, the reason why he was testing Lung Ruoxia was because of the bet he made with Shui Mo. Initially, Shui Mo had wanted to let the two of them meet. After all, in his heart, Lung Ruoxia was different from the rest and was the benefactor of the Qilin clan. However, he wanted to be mysterious and give Lung Ruoxia a surprise. In his eyes, most humans would fall for this trick. However, he had met Lung Ruoxia, who did not play by the rules. Hence, he did not manage to surprise her. Instead, he had caused a shock to some of his clansmen. The Qilin clan leader glanced at the aggrieved first elder and Huoyu and sighed silently. Then he deliberately put on a stern face and said to Lung Ruoxia, "Little girl, you're quite bold. Are you really not afraid of me?" Although he had already admitted that he had lost, he still wanted to take a gamble. What if this little girl was pretending? Perhaps he could even turn the tide. The stubborn Qilin clan leader had a good plan. Shui Mo had known him for so long, so he knew what he was thinking. Shui Mo had no choice but to watch silently. "Do I need to be afraid of you? Although I've long heard that the Qilin clan leader is a heroic figure, I've never witnessed your most glorious period, so I naturally can't say that I'm afraid." I only know that without my help, your great hero can only regretfully sleep in this ice room. In that case, shouldn't you worship me instead? Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Her words were so arrogant that Uncle Long and the others broke out in a cold sweat. First Elder Qilin and Huoyu turned pale with fright. Only Shui Emo remained calm. This haughty Lung Ruoxue was the little girl he knew and admired. Actually, Shui Emo was very happy that Lung Ruoxue would do this, because this meant that they would be able to see the true side of Lung Ruoxue. Only such an arrogant Lung Ruoxue had the right to be on equal footing with the Qilin clan, and be respected by them. This wasn't to say that the Qilin race had a physique that deserved to be abused. It was just to say that the strong were all proud. Only the strong had the right to be arrogant. The partner that the Qilin clan needed was someone as confident and arrogant as Lung Ruoxue. After all, no one would want their partner to be respectful to them. Such a partner could not be called a true partner. They were more like a subordinate. What the Qilin race wanted was a true partner who could stand side by side with them. One must know that Lung Ruoxue's previous politeness was completely unlike the little human girl he knew. At that time, he was actually a little disappointed. It was only after the stimulation of the fire yu that Lung Ruoxue showed a trace of strength, and he gradually became satisfied. A true expert had to stand upright. Shui Emo was overjoyed to see Lung Ruoxue's performance in front of his intimidating big brother. Chapter 2770. Here we come one. As expected of the person he had taken a fancy to. She really did not disappoint him. However, this proud big brother of his seemed to have suffered quite a big blow. After all, after so many years, this was the first time he had seen his big brother reveal a constipated expression of struggle. Such an expression was really too rare. If he wasn't afraid that big brother would be angry, he really wanted to use a memory crystal to take a picture of big brother's expression at this moment, and remember it forever. As if sensing Shui Emo's thoughts, the Qilin clan leader glared at Shui Emo before sighing and saying helplessly, "You're right, I should really admire you." How could he not admire a little fellow who dared to speak to him like that? One had to know that in the entire divine realm, even Wu Yin didn't have the guts to speak to him like this. More importantly, if he had really heard what Wu Chen said, he would have attacked directly, but this little guy couldn't he? AI. The Qilin clan leader was depressed and conflicted. When Lung Ruoxue heard the Qilin clan leader's words, she remained extremely calm. Uncle Long and the rest looked at each other, and their eyes revealed that the Qilin clan leader had indeed been greatly provoked. Then they laughed bitterly. Perhaps only Shui would dare to speak to the Qilin clan leader in such a manner, and not get beaten up. If it were anyone else, the Qilin clan leader would have beaten them up so badly that even their parents wouldn't be able to recognize them. In the following time, both sides were silent for a moment. Finally, the Qilin clan leader spoke again. "Little kid, I wanted to give you a surprise, but I didn't expect it to turn into a scare in the end. So, can you give me some face and come with me to the celebration party?" The Qilin clan leader's words were rather polite, almost to the point of begging. It was because he had underestimated Lung Ruoxue's strength previously, so he couldn't act tough now. Lung Ruoxue gave him face and nodded. "Since it's the Qilin clan's head who invited us, of course we have to attend. However, can you let us remove the colorful things on our faces and bodies first? We're really not used to this." Upon hearing this, the Qilin clan leader looked deeply at Lung Ruoxue. He was roaring in his heart, "Of course not. How cute was Lung Ruoxue when she was depressed like this?" Therefore he looked a little troubled and said, "The clothes on your face and body are the tradition of our Qilin clan. The Qilin of our Qilin clan will dress like this, so I'm very sorry." It was obvious that the Qilin clan leader had rejected it out of a little revenge. Otherwise he would have felt extremely unbalanced. When Lung Ruoxue heard the Qilin clan leader's words, she could only take a deep breath and remind him, "We are humans. Don't the humans have a saying, 'When in Rome, do as the Romans do'?" The Qilin clan leader asked with a smile. As expected, he's an old fox. Lung Ruoxue was furious, but the other party's words weren't wrong. Hence, Lung Ruoxue couldn't find any fault with them. In the end, Lung Ruoxue gritted her teeth and decided to do whatever she wanted. What's the big deal? It's just that her dressing doesn't match human aesthetics. She endured it. Lung Ruoxue, who had thought of this, said calmly, "Since that's the case, let's do as the Romans do." "Thanks, Miss Lung is really considerate." After hearing this, the Qilin clan leader complimented her and made a gesture of invitation. Lung Ruoxue had no choice but to brace herself and leave with him. Along the way, Lung Ruoxue stayed by the Qilin clan leader's side without a word. Uncle Long and the rest followed behind them silently, wishing they could be invisible. He had no choice. The atmosphere was too depressing. In addition, when they saw the Qilin clan leader's increasingly cheerful expression, like a cat that had stolen a fish, they really didn't know how to evaluate his naivety. Not long after, the group walked in silence all the way to the grand banquet that the Qilin clan had meticulously prepared. The scene was arranged to be in the Qilin clan's largest conference hall. At this moment, it had already been set up. The banquet this time was personally organized by the elders. There were many things that even the ordinary members of the Qilin clan did not participate in. Those Qilin and Lung Ruoxue were also unaware of this. The reason they did this was naturally to give their clansmen a surprise. After all, ever since their clan leader had fallen into a coma from his serious injuries, the Qilin clan had not celebrated anything like this. Now that the clan leader had successfully recovered and woken up, this was simply an unprecedented event for the Qilin clan. Therefore, they planned to have a big celebration. However, when they saw Lung Ruoxue, who seemed to be by their side, the Qilin clan leader was a little uncertain. This girl's expression was truly ugly. How did this happen? One had to know that it was such a great honor for the clan leader to invite her personally. The Qilin elders were naturally not aware that Lung Ruoxue had already fought with their clan head once at Lung Ruoxue's residence. At first, Lung Ruoxue had won, but the Qilin clan head had used when in Rome, do as the Romans do to turn the situation around. The two of them had ended up in a draw, so naturally, they were unconvinced, which led to the current outcome. The Qilin clan's patriarchs, who did not dare to take a deep breath, invited their clan head, Lung Ruoxue, and the rest to take their seats with timid hearts. Then they sat down in turn, not knowing what to do. The atmosphere was so tense that they could die. How were they supposed to celebrate? The Qilin elders were so worried that they were on fire. At this time, the ordinary clansmen that Bing Yin was in charge of also arrived in turn. Before they could sit down, the ordinary Qilin clansmen saw a person who seemed to have only appeared in legends and was deeply engraved in their minds. The clan leader? One of the Qilin race beings couldn't help but ask in a soft voice. Only then did the other Qilin race beings come to a sudden realization, and they all stared at the outstanding man sitting in the center of the table with incredulity. "That's me. It's been so many years. Everyone has worked hard." The Qilin clan leader smiled and said gently. After that, the Qilins wailed and all of them hugged their heads and bawled loudly upon hearing this. Their sobs were simply deafening. More importantly, it was as if these Qilins were made of water at this moment. When they cried, the tap wouldn't turn off. Especially after someone started crying, the cries that came one after another stopped no matter what. Of course, this had a lot to do with the fact that the higher-ups of the Qilin clan didn't want to stop them. The Qilin clan master even whispered to Lung Ruoxue, "Little girl, did you see that? My clansmen are so cute. She's quite cute, but her makeup is all ruined from crying. She looks like a ghost now." Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. When she saw that the Qilin's makeup was similar to hers, her heart felt a little more balanced. However, the Qilin's appearance right now was truly frightening. Therefore, she couldn't be blamed for not being compassionate. These are tears of joy. We have to let them cry to their heart's content. After all, they have held it back for so many years, they need to vent it out. The Qilin race patriarch explained. All right then. What else could Lung Ruoxue say? It had nothing to do with her. Chapter 2771. Here we come too. By the time the Qilin's present had finally cried enough, several hours had already passed. Even so, The Qilin Great Elder was still able to announce the official start of the banquet as if nothing had happened. Sighing softly, Lung Ruoxue sat until her waist hurt. However, the banquet had already started, so she had to give the Qilin race some face. After that, the Qilin clan members who knew that Lung Ruoxue was the Qilin clan's great benefactor stepped forward one by one, wanting to toast her to express their gratitude. At first, Lung Ruoxue had only drunk 1 or 2 cups. However, as she saw more and more Qilin toasting to her, her face slowly turned black. Was this a tag team battle? He wanted to get her drunk? Wait, I'll drink on behalf of the goddess. At this moment, a loud shout was heard. Then, Lung Ruoxue saw Fengyi, whose injuries on his face had already recovered, walking towards her unsteadily. It was obvious that Fengyi had drunk quite a bit. The drunk Fengyi staggered towards Lung Ruoxue. He held his wine glass and said, "Goddess, please forgive my poor eyesight. I never thought that you'd be that fierce woman, Lung Ruoxue. This really hurts my heart." After Fengyi finished speaking, he simply leaned on Lung Ruoxue's table and hugged the table leg as he wailed. He cried so heartbreakingly that anyone who heard him would be heartbroken and shed tears. Lung Ruoxue's face was filled with black lines. Was this her fault? Was she the one who wanted to dress like this? As for Fengyi, he didn't care so much at this moment. He only knew that he had fallen out of love. The goddess he had fallen in love with at first sight was actually that fiendish Lung Ruoxue. Sups. What was he going to do? When the Qilins saw Fengyi crying like this, they were too embarrassed to continue toasting to Lung Ruoxue. They returned to their seats helplessly and sympathetically. As for the Qilin clan leader, he couldn't help but gloat at this interlude. "Little girl, could it be that you've given up on the Qilin man of my race? Fucking around and then abandoning your sister." Lung Ruoxue's heart was burning with anger, and she could not help but curse in her heart. However, she maintained a calm expression and said, "Does the Qilin clan leader think I'm that kind of person? I can only say that you can't judge a book by its cover. More importantly, I'm not familiar with you yet, so I naturally don't know if you're that kind of person." The Qilin clan leader declined the invitation very cleanly, but he didn't hide the eager expression in his eyes. Facing such a shameless Qilin clan leader, Lung Ruoxue felt very fortunate. It was a good thing that she did not revere the Qilin clan leader, like Uncle Long and the rest. Otherwise, she would definitely be very disappointed to see this person who only wanted to see the world in chaos. In fact, Uncle Long and the others were so shocked by the lively Qilin clan leader that they didn't know what words to use to describe him. Could this be the true face of the Qilin clan leader? Normally, the Qilin clan leader's serious look was all an act. Was the real Qilin clan leader actually a boring person who loved to gossip? If that was the case, Uncle Long and the others would be disappointed. Thanks, it was a pity that no matter what they thought in their hearts, they could not say it out loud like Lung Ruoxue, who asked the lofty image of the Qilin clan leader to be deeply rooted in their hearts. It was impossible for them to be so presumptuous with their idol in a short time. Now, seeing that Lung Ruoxue and the Qilin clan leader were suspected of using the Fengyi incident to fight, they could not help but continue to pretend to be invisible. At this moment, everyone heard Lung Ruoxue gnash her teeth and say, "Then let's get to know each other better." "No problem. Where do you think we should get to know each other?" the Qilin clan leader asked with a deeper meaning. "Anywhere," Lung Ruoxue said without a care. "How's the Imperial City?" The Qilin clan leader pondered for a moment before speaking. The Imperial City? Lung Ruoxue was about to agree, but she immediately realized that the Qilin clan leader was talking about the Imperial City, the territory of that bitch Wucheng. What was this guy trying to do? One had to know that the familiar she was referring to was a good sparring session with the Qilin clan leader. After all, this was a rare opportunity. However, the other party wanted to go to the Imperial City. What was going on? "I heard that you've been to the Imperial City many times, little girl. I haven't had the chance to go out for a walk in tens of thousands of years. Now that my injuries have recovered, I naturally want to go out and meet my old friends. Are you willing to come with me?" The Qilin clan leader blinked his ice blue eyes and asked with an innocent expression, "You bastard." This old Qilin was actually acting cute. Seeing the Qilin clan's patriarch acting cute, Lung Ruoxue despised him in her heart. However, she still nodded and said, "No problem. I'm quite familiar with the imperial city. I can be your guide since you haven't left the Qilin clan for tens of thousands of years." "Then it's settled. We'll leave immediately after the banquet," the Qilin clan leader said impatiently. The Qilin clan leader deeply felt that he and Lung Ruoxue were the most compatible in terms of their attitude towards Wuhan. If it was any other clansman, he would have to be careful and consider carefully. It's really boring. Otherwise, he wouldn't have suddenly come up with an excuse at this time. The great elder of the Qilin clan, and Huoyu, knew that their clan master had made up his mind. They couldn't stop him, so they could only let him be. Right now, their only hope was that Lung Ruoxue was as powerful as the rumors said. Otherwise, they would not be able to rest easy for their clan leader. After all, their clan leader had just recovered. Then the banquet continued. The Qilin clan leader, who had come to an agreement with Lung Ruoxue, did not continue to make things difficult for her. Instead, he acted as if he was on friendly terms with Lung Ruoxue. Of course, Lung Ruoxue also gave him a lot of face. The world in front of him could be said to be peaceful. The banquet to celebrate the Qilin clan leader's awakening lasted for 3 days. Every Qilin was drunk and slept on the ground. Lung Ruoxue, on the other hand, could no longer withstand the high pressure of her physical strength, and had returned to her room to rest early. The moment the banquet ended, while most of the Qilin clan's members were still drunk, the Qilin clan's patriarch had already come knocking on their door. He had a look of urgency on his face as he wanted to set off with Lung Ruoxue immediately. When Lung Ruoxue heard the other party's request, she fell silent for a moment before saying, "Uncle Long and the others are still drunk. I can't just leave them here, can I? Why can't I? If they stay here, the Qilin clan will treat them as honored guests, so don't worry," the Qilin clan leader said. "But if I leave like this, Uncle Long and the others will be angry when they wake up." This was what Lung Ruoxue was most hesitant about. After she finished speaking, she looked at the Qilin clan leader with a hint of hidden bitterness. She thought to herself, "It's all your Qilin clan's fault for preparing this banquet and making Uncle Long and the others drunk." In fact, the so-called feast of the Qilin clan was just a feast for the Qilin. Uncle Long and the others were drinking with a lot of Qilin, so they were all drunk. Now that Uncle Long and the others were still unconscious, if she acted on her own, Uncle Long and the others would definitely attack her. Therefore, she wasn't stupid enough to leave just like that. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.